Welcome, everybody. It's your girl, Delores, just the pink girl in my pink world, here on every social platform with my good brother, J.News, for the Hit the Ropes podcast. J.News, do you got anything to tell the good people?
Good people, hello. Happy Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the East Coast. But welcome, as always, to the Hit the Ropes podcast, where we are going to fill you in on the week that was in professional wrestling. Quite a bit of stuff to go over for the week. Both to give you guys whatever our individual opinions are, and then obviously to preview as to what's coming in the coming week. So appreciate y'all for being here.
Yes. Now we're going to go over to the Hit the Ropes studio, where it's time for, you know what time is it? What time is it, J-News? It's time for review. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start off with WWE. WWE Monday Night Raw. It was 1679 on Netflix on the 28th. We had AJ Styles and the Kabuki Warriors, which is Asuka and Kairi Sane, defeat the Judgment Day of Dominic Mysterio, Raquel Rodriguez, and Roxanne Perez. We had Sheamus defeat Grayson Waller. We had Io Sky, Nikki Bella, Rhea Ripley, and Stephanie Vaquer defeat Naomi. The Green Regime of Alba Fire, Chelsea Green, and Piper Niven. We have the WWE World Tag Team title match. The Judgment Day, Finn Balor and JD McDonough defeat the LWO of Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde. We had Jey Uso defeat Bronson Reed by DQ. J-News, did you see this? And what did you think about this?
So the most interesting and diverse match of the night was the opening match of the night, which had the mixed tag match. Cool moments there with how AJ Styles was teaming with Asuka and Kairi Sane. The Judgment Day girls, Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez, continuing to look like a well-oiled machine. Dominic Mysterio playing up his usual characteristics of looking like a deer in the headlights at times, and just acting more or less like an immature child. But it goes off the way it goes off. Sheamus picking up a random win on Raw. I think they're continuing that storyline with him and Rusev. So we'll see as to how that goes. The ladies match.
I believe, was it this match? No, it wasn't this match. Was it the match before that Nikki had that she mentioned on her podcast that knocked her implant?
I believe it was this match.
Yeah, that's what I said. I thought this was this match where it knocked her implant out of place.
Yeah, and I found that to be, strange to happen. And she said that she's gonna during her podcast with her sister, she said that she's going to take care of that at a later date. And I understand, that she just got back. She doesn't want to take any time off and things of that nature. But being that the actual implant moved, you might want to get that checked out to see if anything else happened to that implant and whatnot. So,
but you can get scans, just like every woman should get a mammogram. You could see it. Mm-hmm. So if it's just mushed and it's not leaking, she can prolong it. But even with it being mushed, it's like the inside is mushed, and so she'll feel it, and maybe she's taking something for the pain. God bless if you've ever had one of those scans. It's the most worst thing that could ever happen to you.
Yeah, it was strange to hear about that and all that. But like you said, it's on her, and at the end of the day, it is her body and all that stuff. But it just sounded weird. I had never heard that happening to anyone, to be
I
honest.
think somebody mentioned that theirs popped one time
Yeah,
before,
Charlotte,
but
Charlotte,
never like,
yeah, it didn't
yeah,
move. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah, strange.
also, this is something out in the future going forward. Some of the things that have happened this week, I want to get the backstory now that they're doing the WWE Unreal show. It's like, how did she find out? What steps did she have to go through? What did they say to her? Are they suggesting that she can wait, or is that something she feels like she can wait? Like, these are things that I would want to know behind the scenes, because I did enjoy the Unreal show. For those of us who know what's supposed to go on, it wasn't a real shocker, but it was nice to get to see some of the ladies and the people and get to know them and see what they, how they get to do things. And some of the men too. But it's also kind of weird how they do things at WWE, because I thought that when they had their writers' room, they were all completely in a room together, maybe after a show or something. Not that they were having Zoom calls during the middle of the week to talk to each other. That was a little weird. But if you all want to see it, it's on Netflix. It's Unreal. So uh I I'm going to say the WWE doesn't build up to pay-per-views well.
I mean, with this particular, with SummerSlam specifically, things just, I feel like they didn't fall into place the way they would have wanted. And we'll talk about SummerSlam when we get to it and stuff like that. But yeah, like you said, yeah, the build for and I'll say the build for SummerSlam because I was paying attention closely here to SummerSlam more than the previous pay-per-views that they had and whatnot. But yeah, what they did here between SmackDown and Raw going towards SummerSlam just didn't feel as cohesive as it should have, and things were a little bit more left up in the air, closer to airtime than just being set up the way that they usually set up things. So there's that. To finish off Raw, Judgment Day defeating the LWO and whatnot. I believe that the match went okay. No one got hurt during the match. I think there was a scare there during one of the spots. And then we had Jey Uso defeat Bronson Reed. I don't know if this was this the case where the match finished in DQ, Dolores, and then Roman Reigns came out to help Jey, but then they still beat up.
Yeah,
Roman,
he got beat out of his shoes.
and then Bronson beat him out of shoes. Yeah, okay. So that was this one.
I wanted so bad into so many chats this week explained, especially when Bronson came out with the shoes tied around his neck. I'm gonna try to put it in a nice way. The hood way of if you get stomped out and your shoes taken and they hung up on the telephone pole. But they didn't get that they've never seen or experienced or know about that. So they did not, understand why these shoes were hanging around his neck, why, why we were laughing at he got his shoes jacked. They were like, this doesn't make any sense. And I was like, if I didn't know that, I would too. But that's just like with the Alexa Bliss and Bianca and them doing the scary movie sequence, and like a lot of us understood what they were doing, but the people who didn't was like, seems stupid. This is the kind of thing culturally some people know about that thing. Yes, Jaleel, he got deboed out of his shoes.
Yeah, it was yeah, that only went over with a certain part of the demographic. So there's
Yeah.
that. So for those of us who are in not necessarily the know, but just have had the understanding of it, it was funny. But for other people, it was like, what was it, like you were saying? What is this about necessarily? And it's like,
that seems stupid. And then when he came out with them hanging around his neck, they were like, this is just really stupid. And I was like, yeah, you wouldn't understand. Like, I wanted Bronson to take them shoes off and to like imaginarily throw them up in the air, and then a telephone pole come out, and they just hang there, and just be like, or some vignette where he's like hanging them on a telephone pole. Like that would have made me even lose my stuff even worse. But that probably would have made people mad. Now we're in this green earth thing, so that's not gonna work. But me and J News, you know what time it is. It's time for us to go to the back of the stage. And we're gonna go to the next show, which was NXT 796 on the 29th on the CW. We had Jada Parker defeat Jasmine Nix. We had Tavion Heights defeat Charlie Dempsey. We had Fallon Henley defeat Lash Legend. We had Javon Evans defeat Wes Lee. And for the WWE NXT North American title match, we had Ethan Page defeat Santino Marella. J-News, did you see any of this, and what did you think?
Yeah, caught up with NXT this week. It was nice to see Miss Parker back on TV. Her and Jasmine Nix basically getting gooned over by the NXT crowd. So that was interesting. Fan reaction for the majority of the match.
They was like, we don't care about you. We don't care about it at all.
So that was that. Tavion finally defeated Charlie Dempsey. So now he's out of the NQCC. Ren feeling some sort of way at this point. That's always funny. Because Ren's probably of the women wrestlers on the NXT roster, between her and Thea Hale, I find them to be completely hilarious girls. And the way that Ren plays stuff up on the on social media is pretty funny. So the Wednesday after NXT, Ren went on her own little rant there during.
Yeah, I can see why at first, because I didn't remember the matches we had went over, but I was like, Charlie lost? Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But so, then when I saw Bloodsport, I was like, oh, okay. So Charlie couldn't get a twofer. He had to stomp out one.
Yeah. So Tavion's out. What's the young man's name? I'm forgetting right now. Jesus Christ, what's the kid's name? The Randy Orton lookalike, Miles Bourne. There you go.
Yeah.
Miles Bourne is out, so it's just down to Ren and Charlie now. We shall see how that all breaks down on NXT TV. Fallon Henley defeated Lash Legend. Was it really a one-on-one? It wasn't really a one-on-one because all those girls usually get involved as they usually do.
I'm beginning to wonder if they said no Lash to go to the main.
Yeah, I think they're gonna wait that out. They're gonna wait that out. We'll see how that all goes. But right now, I think that I could be wrong, but I feel like the WWE has noticed that there is a glut on the roster. There's a lot of people both on main and both in NXT, and folks got to get TV time. They don't necessarily know how to where and how to book certain talents that are now on the quote unquote main roster, and they're just chilling and freaking catering and all that stuff. So to continue to bring people up to the main roster right now, I think is not.
But they need to do something, because that whole Blake Monroe, Jordan Grace back and forth they had, I think it was this week, made me sick. I was like, this is the point where I'm no longer a Blake Monroe fan, following her from Stardom. I was like, oh, okay, she's good promo. She's an okay wrestler. She could get better. And then the more I see her on NXT, the more I'm like, I can't stand you. I wish you would go back to AEW.
It's tough, right? Because I mentioned it here, and I also mentioned it during another podcast with True Heel Heat. I feel like there's a wait and for me there's a wait and see approach with the whole Blake Monroe thing. She's been there for a month now, so hasn't been that much time. Also, I feel like the creative team over on NXT has not given her anything worthwhile to work with. So there's that per se. So as of right now, it doesn't seem like she's um, taking off as smoothly as some folks would like. I've always been one myself to criticize her in-ring ability because I've always thought that it was just either too slow, the pacing just doesn't work, or whatever the case is, and it's not. And it just at times it just doesn't work necessarily. And I'm just talking about her in-ring because I think she's a great character wrestler. But for all intents and purposes, with what she's currently doing on NXT, stuff's just not vibing well. It's not gelling well. So they've got to get that ship righted with Blake Monroe. That's my take with that. The second to last match that happened here on NXT, Javon Evans defeated Wes Lee. There was some sort of a promo that was cut earlier in the night that involved Javon Evans. Javon Evans talking about he was trying to go towards getting another title shot against Obafemi. Trick Williams came out to interrupt Javon Evans. Then Wes Lee came out. They beat down Javon Evans at the end of the day. And then they created this match where Javon eventually beat Wes Lee. So it seems like Javon's on his way to have a match against Obafemi somewhere down the road. If not, he'll be taking on Trick Williams. I feel like NXT thinks highly of Javon Evans. And they want him to be at the top of their card. And we shall see how that all works out for the young man who continues to surprise and titillate the fans with his bounciness. And then for the North American Championship match, now I understand.
Why, God, why? Because I was like, why?
I understand now because okay, so let me take this back a bit. Like when Ethan Page was on TNA, I used to find Ethan Page very entertaining. Right, he was a funny dude. He was super creative. They allowed him to do all this different stuff. And then when he signed with AEW, I was like, oh hey, it's going to be a bigger stage for Ethan Page. He's gonna be able to take off here, and the opportunities just weren't there for him. Right, so then he decided to ask for his release. He was given his release, and he's over on NXT now, and he's been playing a mainline character on NXT TV for quite a while now. He was NXT champion. Now he's NXT North American champion. So they think highly of Ethan Page. The gimmick part of it all, the character part of it all, after a while with me, when it comes to certain wrestlers, not all wrestlers, and Ethan Page falls into this category, shit just starts to fall flat for me. And I lose interest with certain people. And Ethan Page has been one of those people where I've definitely lost interest in his character. Not because he's not doing anything great or doing anything bad. It just is, right? It just is what he is, and I'm just not for it. Cool to see Santino Marella back on WWE TV. Santino continuing to, after all of these years, decades of providing entertainment for people, still entertaining people. I just wasn't necessarily very interested in the match. Just because Ethan Page was involved, and he's still doing the same thing that he's been doing since he got there. There hasn't been any level of evolution to his character work from what I've seen, and I just wasn't necessarily too interested in that. And I knew that this match was going to be a semi-comedy match at the end of the day, nothing too serious. And that's the way that I just see it. Do I think he needs a new persona? I think he needs to do something a little different. Jalil, like legit, like what he's been doing worked fine when he got there. Now it's like if the goal is to get the goal is to get to the main roster, he needs to evolve more. He needs to get out of this one lane that he's put himself into. Because I'm speaking for myself personally. I've just lost interest in him, and why not give me something a little different? Give me something that'll expand and evolve your character and whatnot, and then we go from there. But for right now, I feel like he's stale.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at with it.
First of all, before I say what I say, shout out to Jaleel, Super Chat, 755 and 10 for coming here, supporting us. Also, I think his character at first he seemed a little naive and goofy, and he can't play that anymore. He's a grown man with kids. He's used to the United States now. He's living here. At first, even before AEW, he was wrestling in the United States, but he was living in Canada full time. And I only know that because I watched his YouTube channel and I was obsessed with it. And then even on his YouTube channel, it's gotten to a point where he's moved here to America and he's not even the same person on this channel. So I think at a certain point he figured, I'm gonna change this character, I'm gonna evolve, I'm gonna be this, and this, and it's not hitting the same. Like this whole like glasses wearing, I'm smart, I'm this, I'm that, it's not connecting to people because we are used to, and we met this guy who was, you know, slightly naive but cunning at the same time. It's not happening anymore. And so for me, that's what makes me not like him in this way at all. But Santino, I'm just over the whole like him and the snake and the all of this is just not necessary. I understand the Ariana Grace storyline, whatever. That's great. You know what I'm saying? But as far as him, I just don't think this match should have happened. Or at least put it in the beginning of the show. Don't have this main event the show. This is your main event. You having your North American champion face Santino Marella in like a goof troop match. It's not working. So
I mean, at the end of the day, you know, they've got to service. They have to service the partnership with TNA somehow.
But I mean, at this point, they're not doing them a good service. They're giving them more eyes on their product, yes. Mm-hmm. But they're stomping out their talent every chance they get. And at a certain point, is that a good relationship if you keep stomping out the other people? I mean, even I can't remember all the results, but even when the teaming with GCW, it's like, okay, this is what I do. They have a relationship with GCW where it's beneficial 90 to them, 10 or 99% to them, 1% for you. And that's the same way they're doing TNA. It's like 99. But I can't complain about their relationship because TNA accepts, they've had many partnerships where they have accepted being the loser in it. So if you continue to do this, this is something you like to do. I can't stop what you like to do. But at a certain point, I have to realize that I don't think that they're going to grow from it. I actually somewhat, when we talk about, you know, SmackDown and stuff, can see where AAA is getting some kind of rub. I appreciate them making sure that Triple Mania is on YouTube because no matter if they see these characters, nobody is going to want to see them and pay for it. If it's my first time seeing it, I want to see it for free. And then maybe a year or two from now, we might do a, you know, Peacock or a pay-per-view or something like that. But nobody's going to actually go out their way to pay for something that they don't even know about. So that's what I appreciate about that. For those who were complaining online about, they just put them on YouTube. It doesn't matter. At least they're getting eyes that they normally wouldn't get because some people just don't care about that type of wrestling. Me and J.News just happen to watch it. Especially when you're watching a show that you might not understand the language, you don't know who they are, you lost. So this is an opportunity to bring new eyes. I appreciate that. So hopefully we'll get Conan and Corey Graves back together. But ladies and gentlemen, me and J.News, we're going to the what? To the back. Because we're on to the next show, which was SmackDown. SmackDown was on the 1st on USA Network. We had a WWE Women's United States title match where Julia defeated Zelina Vega. For the AAA World Tag Team title match, Los Garza and Angel and Berto. I was gonna say Umberto. Berto defeated Mr. Iguana and Psycho Clown. Damian Priest defeated Alistair Black by DQ, and sorry speller. Tom Tomatonga defeated Jimmy Uso. J.News, did you see this? What did you think?
I don't think I got to speak about this last week because it was a backstage interview thing there
Mm-hmm.
that they introduced Kiana James basically as um, Julia's mouthpiece, aka her lawyer. Um, I'm a little confused about that per se, but we'll see as to where it goes. It's just
It
another
felt
one of
like a
those.
Grayson Waller kind of thing. You know
Um,
how like Grayson Waller is now like, I'm doing stuff for the New Day. I'm a part of the New Day, and they keep looking at him like, why are you here?
yeah, no,
She kind of looked at her like,
yeah, it was.
what?
I think that was purposely done. The whole because Kiana, even when she was on NXT, she played the quote unquote smart lawyer ish type financial person,
Like
whatever deal.
Sterling, like what's his name? Sterling
Yeah,
of AW.
yeah, like smart Mark Sterling and stuff like that. So Kiana James is basically being used to be Julia's mouthpiece, which to me, like I said, wait and see. Just because a lot of the international superstars that have come to NXT and are now in the WWE have been trying their best to learn the language, and they take their English classes, and then some even go through like acting school and
Yeah,
hire dialect coaches and all that stuff or whatever the case is. So to not be given the opportunity to, use those skills that they've been able to garner over the time that they've been here in America, it's a bit difficult for me to be okay with them just shoving a mouthpiece into Julia when Julia's put in the work, not only to move over here from a foreign country, but at least and come over here and learn the language and stuff like that. And they're not giving her the opportunity to do use, like I said, use the skills that she's garnered. She's only been on the main roster for a little bit of time. I think she's had like maybe 2 or 3 backstage encounters, and I feel like she's done fine. It's nothing to run home about, but write home about. But at the end of the day, they haven't been horrible. But to the match point, Julia versus Zelina Vega. I didn't get to see this match. I went online on the socials to see as to what people were talking up about this match. Some people thought the match was terrific. Other people downplayed the match. I saw clips of it. It seemed like the match went well. There
yeah,
was
it went well. It's just
yeah,
that I think they expected. I don't know why they always want Zelina to have like this 5-star match. I don't know. Like I've never really seen a 5-star match out of Zelina. Like she just she's middle of the road. And Julia is above that road. And so they gave you a good match. It wasn't like we 30-minute banger. No, it's not that. It's just that we can appreciate a match. I think sometimes with WWE we set the bar low. And so when the bar is for EW, the bar is high. It's high. So we expect those things. And when it doesn't happen, we're mad. But when the bar is low and you go above it, some people are like, well, why their bar is not high? We're not expecting that. We watch WWE. We've been through the Divas area and the rest. We just appreciate that we getting a good match. So that's the consistency online is like they're not doing matches as great as well as other companies. But at least we're getting a start. We got a good match. It wasn't trash. I didn't have to see somebody's chest in behind. We didn't have a divas match. There ain't no pillow fight. I didn't have to do all of that. I'll take it.
yeah.
Some people can't take that.
It was interesting to see the feedback about the match. The point I was going to make um, before you had your description of the match and your experience with it. It seems like Zelina had a moment during the match where she might have hurt Julia. I don't necessarily know. I saw the clip of it and I was just like, it was a mistake. It happened. It seemed like Julia was fine after the fact. Like wrestling's not ballet, folks. So just chill. At the end of the day, if I gotta say a word. We then go on to the AAA World Tag Team match. It was Los Garza versus Mr. Iguana and Psycho Clown. It was cool to see Mr. Iguana and Psycho Clown get some
Was it
exposure.
ISIS?
Huh?
Is it ISIS? Is it ISIS?
Who?
The iguana that he holds in his mouth.
Oh man, why am I?
I think is it ISIS?
No, that's not that's not the name of it. Laniesca. So that's
Lieska.
yeah. So that Mr. Iguana's a comedy wrestler and things of that nature. Psycho Clown is known more for his hardcore, hard hitting style and things of that nature. So them together as a tag team.
DCW,
Yeah. So them as a tag team here representing AAA. Like I said, good exposure for them. They were they were also shown last night on as being in the crowd at SummerSlam and stuff like that. So good exposure for AAA on that side. The Garzas beating them was more or less, it was elementary at the end of the day. Until they consider any of the talents on AAA to be on the level of any of their talents in the WWE. We will see the WWE talents go over the AAA talents at the end of the day. I think there was news during the week, news, rumor, conjecture during the week that the WWE is planning to have Dominic Mysterio go to AAA and eventually win their mega championship. We shall see if that becomes a thing.
He has, if you saw the last show they had down there, he was there, and from the moment he stepped through the back, he had heat. They were booing him uncontrollably. Like it was like, how we at least let him get down in the ring, then we start booing them. They were like, from the moment we see you, we hate you. Yeah. Boo! And they just start going at him. And then they realized, oh, he got major heat down here. And so now let's bring him down here. Now, he is definitely going to be there. If you look at the poster, he is on there, and El Grande Americana is on there.
Yeah.
I don't know, because as we saw, Friday, two of them showed up. So I don't know who gonna come up, but that
they're gonna be on.
Wait to see it, because he's gonna be hated. He's gonna be hated real bad.
They're gonna be at Triple Mania. I think from a fan standpoint, what folks need to understand is that the Mexican crowd isn't like the American crowd. The Mexican crowd doesn't care about dirt sheets. They don't care about rumors and conjecture and stuff like that. They go to their shows. They enjoy their shows. They boo the bad guys. They cheer the good guys, and they play their part at the end of the day. So for Dominic,
also, they will get involved.
Yes, that too. Depending,
they will hurt you. They will hurt you.
Depending as to how it gets, how cantankerous it can get, fans can get involved. But that hasn't happened in a while, thankfully. But good on. Hopefully, we'll see more exposure for AAA. I understand if they decide, as in WWE decide to make Dominic a champion at AAA. I understand that it's an exposure thing. It's to the equivalent of, people don't want to notice it. It's the truth, but it would be the equivalent of what Mercedes Moné is doing for all these international independent companies. It would be the same equivalent, putting that belt on Dominic Mysterio. So, this has been a trend in the wrestling industry for decades at the end of the day. So when there's partnerships, if there's bigger stars that come into the company, sometimes they strap them up, so that way the partnership between promotions continues as strong as they do, and that the company continues to get exposure through their mainline championship being on a more I want to say higher level, but something that has more exposure, like the WWE does.
From the understanding I heard from some of the dirt sheet writers of different things and different podcasts, is that WWE is interested in making AAA the Mexican NXT, and that they will filter talent through there to come to America to work, and come here to work. And so I think that would be, and they're also and what I really appreciate and what is being said, if it is true, is that they want to keep the system down there the same, but just send a couple of coaches down there to teach them the American style, teach them the camera and all the rest of that, so they can have the sense of when they come, they're already ready on what WWE is looking for and how to hit those marks. Because I think we all have heard me say, I absolutely hate it when Jade does it. She did in AEW, she does in WWE. It's like she's supposed to hit a mark and the camera's swirling to hit that mark with her, and she is just back turned. Like it's like, no, you need to hit the mark when they tell you to be at X, be at X. It's like even like last night when Charlotte kips up, she is not kipping up on accident. She will move her body to make sure that when she kips up, she's in the camera. And that's something that she knows that that's the spot. They tell her, hey, I see a camera. I'm gonna get into it. Some people are not camera ready like that. And I appreciate that they're gonna send some people down there to make sure that they understand how to do it and how to do it correctly.
Yeah, I mean it's just a different style and things of that nature, and having to get used to the WWE style and where the WWE cameras are placed and all that jazz. So, but I've always believed ever since they acquired AAA that was going to be the goal, for them to basically make AAA their the Mexican version of NXT at the end of the day. And like you were saying before, Dolores, earlier on, with them having Triple Mania being aired on WWE's YouTube, it's a big deal because from an exposure standpoint, yet again, people don't necessarily realize, but WWE is the most subscribed to channel on YouTube, period. And they have over 70 million people who subscribe to their YouTube channel. If you get even 1% of that, it's 700,000 people, which was the amount of people who were watching the Worlds Collide event that happened with AAA last time. If you can get that many amount of people just to watch on YouTube on a monthly basis, let alone a weekly basis, that's great exposure for that brand.
And it helps, to be honest, it helps content creators. For me, a lot of my audience is not going to look in because they're not avid wrestling fans. They're not going to pay for Peacock if they don't have it. They're not going to, if you AEW, pay for a pay-per-view or pay for Trilla TV or pay for anything like that if that's not an everyday thing they watch. But if they want to watch along with me and want to have a good time and have a party, which we will be doing a watch along for Triple Mania, they can watch along. Like with Worlds Collide, I had somebody who was like, what are you watching? Where are you watching it? I was like, I'm watching it on YouTube. They're like, oh, well, let me go and watch. And that was the first time that they had seen some of the characters and different things, and they enjoyed it. So that helps. I think my thing about it is, if you can help people, I'm not saying me because I'm not a big content creator, but if you can help people kind of promote your stuff for you and kind of get you out in the ethos and go on your channel and different things, then that will bring new eyes, not just new wrestling fans, new eyes, new everything to things like that. Because I like watching AAA, as I say, the True Hill Heat's comment section. They said they phasing out some of the legendary people that come, and some of them matches with them legends, I'd be like, this is just a Benny Hill show and I needed to stop. But if we're gonna, spice things up and bring new eyes, I'm willing. And listen, I will talk about that later. But we'll be here on the 16th. Well, I'll be here. J.News will be working. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for me and J.News to go to the back. And we're going to go on to yesterday's watch along for night 1 of SummerSlam. Ladies and gentlemen, you were here with me at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you haven't, go back and watch. It's a good thing. We'll be on tonight. We'll talk about it in a minute. But WWE SummerSlam was yesterday on Peacock. Jey Uso and Roman Reigns defeated Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed for the WWE Women's Tag Team title match. We had Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair defeat the Judgment Day. We had for the WWE Women's Title match, Tiffany Stratton defeat Jade Cargill. Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul defeated Jelly Roll and Randy Orton for the WWE Heavyweight Title match. I know you all are like, Dolores, let me go back. Dolores, I see two of these. And let me explain why. We initially had the match of CM Punk versus Gunther. That lasted 30 minutes. Whereas you saw the champion at the time, Gunther, lost his title to CM Punk. As we talked about before, the Money in the Bank briefcase was acquired by Seth Rollins. He had a contract year to cash that in. He was supposedly injured at Saturday night's main event, which we all were there for and we did the watch along for. But Seth wasn't injured. And Seth came and cashed in on Punk, and 12 seconds later, Punk lost his championship. J.News, I know you saw this. What did you think?
I actually started watching this show at the Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross match. I didn't watch the first two matches. I started watching during the third match. So I watched that match. I watched the second ladies match. I watched the celebrity wrestling match. I watched the main event, and I watched the cash in. So the show isn't in its entirety was fine. It was okay. It wasn't anything to write home about yet again, to use a lesser term. I don't think any of it was bad per se. But what I will say about the matches that I watched were the following: the Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross match. Be it that Karrion Kross lost his match, we're gonna have to wait and see for tomorrow on Raw if they're gonna pay off the stipulation. Being that Karrion Kross lost, I forget what Karrion Kross agreed to with Sami Zayn on his end if he would lose the match, and then we'll go from there. Shouts to WWE, I guess, for promoting Karrion Kross's book during the event. So that was cool of them. There hasn't been any news to come about within the last couple of weeks about Karrion Kross renewing his contract with the WWE. I'm not sure if they've come to any sort of an agreement there or not.
I wonder if that's gonna be like a storyline thing where he just walks around like he's like trying to win to like show them that he can do it, and he ends up like winning a big match and
we'll see.
Signing the contract.
The rumor had it, or the one of the many wrestling websites, dirt sheets and stuff like that put out there that Karrion Kross's contract actually expires on Tuesday. So we'll see if that is actually true, if that holds up, or
well, we've been through that with Drew McIntyre. And it's like, oh, Drew, and then Drew comes out, and then next thing you know, they show a video of him signing his contract from like weeks ago with at the table, and that's when they gave him a new Angela. Is that Angela the sword name?
I forget. Yeah.
Yeah, and a new sword. And so, and then come to find out he had been signed for weeks. It's just that he had been pretending. Just like we went through this whole thing where I understand initially he was stuck in Scotland. Okay, great. But we went days and videos where we pretended like he wasn't going to be able to make the match. He wasn't coming back. He was stuck forever. And then come to find out Logan Paul.
Yeah, I didn't. If I'm being honest with y'all, I didn't believe that for a moment. Not for a minute.
Especially when the Miz got involved. I'm like, who would want you to do? No offense, the Miz, but who would choose you as a partner? And I really, first of all, I was excited. I had my two favorite people I like. I love Jelly Roll and I love Cardi B. I got to see both of them at the same time. I love Jelly Roll. And I will repeat this to the day I die. He's a genuine hearted person. He cares about people. He's been through hell and has gotten better. And the story that they talked about before the show was Jelly Rolls since the 5th grade has never been below 300 pounds. In the 5th grade, he was 300 and something pounds. He had never been below 300 pounds. He wanted to get to SummerSlam and be. It don't matter if it was just a half a pound under 300. He got to 299 when they weighed him the morning of SummerSlam, and he continuously wants to because he got a nutritionist. He got trained at the PC. He continuously wants to do this, and he says he wants to get further down in weight. And I applaud him for that because he truly loves wrestling. He's been a wrestling kid, and if you watch the post show, he was like, it felt like all the hugs that I missed as a kid to be able to do this. And so I really appreciated that because it's like, because Triple H brought him out for the post show. And so that was so nice to understand that he really put his heart into this and he really wanted this. Whereas we've seen some other celebrities, as Sean Ross said, we've seen, what's his name? The boxer. He couldn't wrestle really good. And so many other celebrities we've seen been trash. I've had to watch Snooki wrestle. Jelly Roll did way better than that.
So, because we skipped over the ladies match here. So to mention the ladies match for a bit, Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill. The match was short. It was only about 8 minutes long. I thought that the match was fine for what it was. And yet again, if you guys have been with us from the start and things of that nature, you guys know that Jade Cargill is not my favorite wrestler at the end of the day. And this match did not make this any better. But I'll say this much, shout outs to Jade Cargill for paying homage and representing for her homeland and her culture, that being of Jamaica.
Did you see what Kofi said?
Yeah, that don't get me started. I wasn't even going to touch on that at the end of the day. That's just, I understand it's all kayfabe and all that stuff or whatever, but
I was like,
yeah,
why did you do it? Why did you do it?
Because he's playing up the heel character and all that stuff, and I get it. It was just no thanks.
But the outfits were exactly the same except for what was a girl version and what was a male version. That's what got me is when I put the picture side by side and saw them, I said, did the same person make these two outfits?
No.
So, I know it's the flag, but it could have been done a little differently.
So,
but it made me laugh about that. Yeah. As far as the match they had, I think Tiffany, and I can point out multiple matches she's done this. She has botches repeatedly. And I cannot stand it that nobody says anything. Jay slipped off a wet top rope that somebody else slipped off of. Y'all ringed her a new one. But I have repeatedly seen Tiffany botch after botch after botch, and every match she had this big time, and nobody says anything.
The timing stuff. I was talking to one of my friends yesterday about this when it came to this match specifically. It just bothers me when a lot of the time we know as fans, as observers of the WWE, it's like, yo, these girls spend a lot of time in the PC. They spend a lot of time working on their wrestling skills. And then when it comes time to be on TV, either they get too nervous, they forget certain things. I don't know. But the timing is off. Their footwork is off. Don't get me started on Jade and her lack of ability to sell. Tiffy sometimes
the Jade off the top rope could have been a lot better.
That was shaky.
It's like Tiffany wouldn't reach her arm back further. Jade is trying to grab her up under the arm, and she's just like, and then when it was time to fall, she literally moves her arms and just face forward like this. And I'm like, you are messing it up for her. Like all you had to do was put your arms back and let her hold you and just fall.
Yeah,
You were petrified on the top
yeah.
rope and you messed it up. And so at a certain point, it's like even her cartwheels, her kicks, she missed the kick that passed Jay by the face. It was like at a certain point, when is somebody gonna get on Tiffany? The fact that
No, I
she
mean,
tried a Boston Crab years ago that did not work out.
people get on her for certain things and whatnot. She gets enough. She gets enough hate online for other
That
reasons.
Barbie thing is what really irrits me. Listen, anybody who wears pink, I'm rooting for you. Okay, Tiffany Stratton, I don't root for you because it's like the whole, and you all have heard me do the imitation. The whole it's oh my god, time Tiffany Stratton house, like the whole thing irks stuff out of me. And I like Legally Blonde. I like Barbie stuff, but I'm telling you, she acts airheaded all the time. And then the crazy thing is, like, even after the post show, it was like, WWE, you were wrong for this. I admit, even though I like the girl, you were wrong for this. They zoom in her face, you see the shots, marks, dark spots. And then you see when she's like, well, I just waited through the storm. I stood my ground through the storm. And I'm moving on to the next thing. What next thing? We don't want to see you keep doing this. Then they told us that she was undefeated this year. Why? Why are we doing this? Why is she undefeated this year?
No,
Women tell it out there. Why is she undefeated this year?
they've made the decision. The company made the decision to make her champion. And after her cash in, she's been on her winning streak and things of that nature. But not everything that she's been doing on TV has been going over well with the fans. That being of Tiffany Stratton and things of that nature. This match, like I said, it didn't help. Both of the ladies had their opportunities to do some cool stuff. They did some cool stuff, and then other stuff didn't land. Like I said, the pacing of the match. There comes a point in time where someone's got to get in there with Tiffany and tell her, hey, slow the hell down. Like, there's just the WWE style isn't for the velocity and the speed that she works at sometimes. I think she forgets who she's in there with at times, especially this being a match with Jade. And then
now, Jade, you know you're a little rough too, boo.
Yeah. But the thing about
we learned that you a little rough. I mean, because she kicked her that first kick. She kicked her so hard, homegirl slid, and I looked and I was like, all I can remember when she kicked her, and I can hear like that, like loud, like smack when she kicked her, and she just lifted up and slid. Was when it wasn't Thunder Rosa. It was, I forgot the girl that used to have the little red outfit on. The black girl in AEW when they had the AEW after show, like the show where it shows the backstage, and multiple wrestlers came and were like, "Jay hit us too hard. Can you tell her?"
The whole thing that happened with Red
yeah, it's like, and then when multiple people, and even when he got in the dirt sheets, that it were other women who were saying that she hits you like you really fighting. That made me remind me of that because she hit that girl with two good kicks. And after the second one, she kind of stumbled and it looked like she was lost for a minute. And that's why I gave her grace because I was like, maybe she's a little loop-de-looped. And even commentary mentioned it. But then when they got back around and it seemed like she was back on to her regular pace, Tiffany, she still was doing too much. And I was like, okay, we got to do another thing. And it felt like over the week, they hyped us up. That's why a lot of people were mad online. They hyped us up that Jay was gonna win to crush us. Because I think out of all the interviews, all the things I've seen all week long, we already know Bianca, she's always gonna hit it out of the park. Jay did really good in media, and Jacob did really good. Solo was even down to earth in some of these interviews he had at SummerSlam. So you would think that she would have won because they put her out. They put her out on big media and they had her like, like she was just going to win. And she wasn't And when she didn't win, it hurt me because I'm like, I'm sick. First, I'm sick of Tiffany. I don't like her. And then B, why did you invest so much in her to not give it to her? And some people are like, well, she's not skilled enough. I like, but you gave Tiffany the belt when she wasn't as skilled either, and you had faith in her, and she's not as marketable as Jade is.
That's debatable. At the end of the day, the marketability point of it. But yet again, the match happened. It went down the way that it went down. It wasn't perceived as bad as Tiffany Stratton's match with Charlotte was at WrestleMania.
Oh, that was
But
hard.
but at the end of the day, it was just still one of those things where like if you're really into the wrestling part of it or whatever, you notice um uh the part of it where the saying has always been, it's not ballet, it's professional wrestling. Right, you're right, folks. Former pro wrestlers, historians, it's not ballet. But at the end of the day, you do notice when timing is off, when chemistry isn't there. Like I said, don't get me started on the selling portion of it, because both of these girls lack in that particular department.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's like, maybe you guys should have saved this match for another time at the end of the day. So we'll go with that. Just to speak about the rest of the event, the celebrity match here where Drew McIntyre was tagging with Logan Paul versus Jelly Roll and Randy Orton. I'll say this, I'm not disparaging Jelly Roll in any way. As a matter of fact, I've been a fan of Jelly Roll for years. I got put on to his music via another artist that I listened to from Alabama, and Jelly's always been an inspirational figure to me, especially after what he's been able to do to turn his life around and things of that nature. And I wanted to bring up the fact that I felt like Jelly Roll in this match was telling the story he needed to tell, and he did that very well. The physical athletic wrestling part of it, maybe not so great, but the storytelling aspect of it all, I think Jelly Roll did very well with that. So props to him there. We all know Logan Paul is a freak athlete. At the end of the day, he's a
And he
freak
also is an a-hole.
athlete, but as a human being, it's hard for people to gravitate towards you in the sense of like, oh, I'm gonna give him credit for doing this or that because you're such a hated individual. And
The man cheers his own prime bottles before he jumped on somebody. At
yeah,
that point, and he also put the Bluetooth glasses on to catch
yeah,
it as he jumped off the top.
it's becoming a bit much of him doing the gimmick spots in the match, either it be with the Prime, the what was it at WrestleMania? He was flying a drone at one point. Like, it's becoming a bit much with that. I agree with something that I read on the internet yesterday. In regards to Drew McIntyre, like, they didn't have anything better for Drew to do during this event. Like, this
I
is
mean, he
not.
really didn't have any. He didn't. I would say after seeing the post up, Triple H had enough faith and he had put enough team behind Jelly Roll to feel like he could do the spots that he could. And plus, Jelly Roll got them in the predicament. What was it, Kimmel, that they had to
Yeah.
where they could get themselves in spotlights and places and spaces. Just like people, I heard somebody and I had argued them down about why would Cardi B come out there? Why would they have her? She's a lifelong wrestling fan. She had an album coming out, which for those who did like, well, she just lip synced to the ring. She had put codes out for people to pre-order her album on every single car in the parking lot. So she's promoting herself. She's out there now. I don't know if she's gonna get involved in night two. If you watched her Instagram, she said, "Dumb bees are big, and I shouldn't have been running my mouth on the internet. I'm second guessing, and they won't let me bring a weapon in the building, so I might have to bring some friends because I don't know what they're gonna do. Because she's beefing with Naomi.
Yeah,
So
that's a thing.
that's the thing about it is they bank on the celebrity part of it. But
I get it.
also, Jelly Roll, I can admit, and I hate to admit it sometimes, I thought that this was going to suck on his part.
No, he
He
did
did
great.
way better than I
Yeah,
even thought he could.
he did great, man.
Yeah,
I thought the part of it that seemed very, you know, very very telling, right, was when he was setting himself up to take those bumps and whatnot. Like he would literally hit his, you would see him go to the spot he needed to go to,
yeah.
brace himself for whatever
Yeah,
was going on.
he would clench his arm because even after the post show when he saw the first, like that was the first time he had saw any part of the match is when Logan was jumping on him and he just kind of close. He's like, I look kind of awkward.
He braced
And
himself. He braced himself too early, and it was just. And I get it. Obviously, you know, Jelly's not a professional and things of that nature. He's just learning all this stuff or whatever. But the setup of it all, I was like, damn, Jell, like you could, you know, you can't be foretelling
but he did still getting
that much
injured.
in advance.
He did still getting injured very well because
Yeah, exactly.
like
Yeah, the
if you
storytelling
all don't
aspect of it,
know,
he
I'm
did well.
obsessed. I'm humanly obsessed with Jelly Roll and his wife. I love them to death. And Bunny was standing there mortified.
Yeah,
He pretends as he comes by. She says, "Are you okay?" He looks her in the face and like, I'm not gonna make it. I can't finish." He starts to cry in front of her. And I'm like, if you know them two, they don't believe the line to each other. And they was just, it's I'm like, he's really hurt. Like he is truly hurt. I was sad in that moment. I was like, you listen, I love Randy on the rest of them. I like Randy gets stumped out. I am concerned for Jelly Roll. And when he got to the top and he looked back, I was like, oh man, he suckered me in because
yeah.
he is, and he's scrumbled and scratched and wiped sweat. And he was just, it's like he
He he
really,
he told
really
that
did
story
it. And when
very
he did
well.
the little sidewalk slam on Drew McIntyre, I said, oh, Jelly,
He
he's
told the story.
learning.
He told the story very well. I'm proud of him for doing that. Because there's at some point understand like Jelly Roll understood a part of wrestling even some professional wrestlers don't do well.
Yeah.
So you know it's worth it for people to watch these matches back because it's like for a guy who's never been in a wrestling ring, he told the story without doing the wrestling moves part of it, and that's one of the bigger parts of wrestling that people get on about the current crop of modern day wrestlers about not being able to tell the story between the moves and all that stuff. And Jelly did that very well, so I got to commend him for that. I made the comment about Drew McIntyre and him not having anything better to do on the card, not because this was a celebrity match, but because Drew McIntyre is not in the same position as Randy Orton currently in their careers. Drew McIntyre is still at the prime of his career. Randy's winding it down. I didn't mind Randy being a part of this match at the end of the
Yeah.
day, but
But
like
I just think that they didn't figure have anything and they just put him and Logan together. But
I
the,
think that he could have been better served doing something else. That's just my
yeah.
opinion.
And to the people who say, well, I don't know Jelly Roll, I don't know. First of all, he's a major celebrity. Second of all, watch the post show when he steps out with Triple H and there are grown men and children crying because you could see he's still injured, but they were crying. And to hear that he broke his pinky finger in the first, like getting in the ring, first like try out, kind of go around in the ring, break his pinky finger and continue to still go and to continue. And Triple H, the requirement was you're gonna have to lose weight. We're not gonna just let you get in the ring at this weight. And for him to lose the weight, to go past what Triple H had asked him to do, to practice and do everything, I don't think people should crap on him about how he looked or whatever. He did a great job for what he did. And compared to some of the other things we've seen, celebrity wrestlers, I would say I'm not gonna put him on Bad Bunny level, but and he did great. And
Yeah,
he also
yeah,
set us up for the next match because we were like kind of happy, sad. We had been through some emotions in the match before. And then we really went through some match emotions. I know I did for the next match.
Yeah, it was interesting to say the least because I think this was the first time CM Punk went one on one with Walter, and they did the basic tried and true professional wrestling thing for the first couple of minutes. They felt it out. I thought it was kind of rough and stuff like that. I wasn't really into it, and then they started to tell the story within the ring. In the ring, the entire match happened in the ring.
Yeah.
There was
Except for
no
that one spot on the
yeah
outside when Gunther
but
supposedly got scared of his own blood, which
right.
doesn't. I think Gunther sold that, but if you look at the behind the scenes when Seth is at the top of the round, both referees are taking care of Gunther. Gunther he is like clutching at his nose, blood is running out. I initially thought his head was gashed, but it looked like he was just smearing blood and confusion, and his nose was broke. And they were helping him. That's why when you see Jessica stand up and Seth is coming towards her, Seth literally is about to pass her, and he snatches her to turn her around to come to do the cash in because she was taking care of Gunther. Both referees were down. It looked like he was legitimately hurt.
No, he
And
is.
so,
So the bit of news that came out before during the week is that legitimately Gunther has something wrong with his nose.
yeah,
So he's got to take some time. He's got to take some downtime in order to get that fixed and whatnot. I didn't necessarily think they were going to play into that during the match, but they did somewhat.
yeah.
Because the blood didn't come from his nose. It actually, for whatever reason, I think this is the first time in many, many years they've allowed somebody to get busted open the way that he did.
Yeah, because that's what initially when I saw him come off on, I was like, oh, he bladed himself really
Yeah.
bad. When
So,
you look at the fan footage of him on the ground,
mhm.
he is still bleeding from the nose. And then his head is not even bleeding. And you don't even see a mark because by then he's wiped his face right here.
He wiped his face.
It's just bleeding from here, and he's holding his like that. And every once in a while when he moves it, you can still see blood coming. But they were concerned for him. So that's why the refs were talking on the mics and Jessica was there. I don't know if Jessica, they didn't really tell them and they weren't in the loop, but Seth literally like snatched her around to turn around and come down. And she looks back and Paul was like, go. And then she ran in the ring. I don't think she had a clue what was supposed to be happening either. She just saw an injured wrestler. Her and the other man were attending to him. Because they were tucked right as Seth come down the aisle. And Seth was like, I need a referee. And she was kind of standing up, and he just like grabbed her and turned her around. And I was like, dog, you grabbed her mighty aggressively. And then because she was like, what the? And then that's when Paul was like, yeah, go. And then she proceeded to go and get in the ring.
Yeah, but the match itself it ended up being a really, really good match between CM Punk and Walter at the end of the day. And it was a classic pro wrestling match. It was, if you want to call it David versus Goliath, if you want to call it the wily veteran versus the younger wrestler, not necessarily the youngest or rookie wrestler, because Walter's been doing this shit forever at this point. And that was a tremendous match, a tremendous story they told. Props to those two gentlemen there, even though I'm not the biggest CM Punk fan. Hey, this delivered at the end of the day, so I can't take anything away from it. I thought it was the best match of the night by far. And Walter continuously gives you these kinds of efforts. And props to both of those guys. The storytelling aspect of it, though, post-match, especially when Seth Rollins came to cash in, a lot of people online, a lot of people via dirt sheets, they assumed this to be the case. A lot of people already had thought that Seth Rollins was lying about his injury, and people were right. Folks were like, "Oh my God, I was so surprised. He was really selling the injury," and I was like, a lot of people saw the spot at Saturday night's main event and they were like, yeah, no, he didn't get hurt there.
And what happened is that the furthest I can remember, was it Wade from I forgot where he's from. He mentioned after Saturday Night's Main Event, I heard that they've been setting this up for weeks, that he's supposed to get injured on Saturday Night Main Event. And then we're gonna be like, well, is he not? Is he not? And so when he went down initially, because if most people don't know, Seth had a freak knee injury like that before.
Yeah, a couple years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I initially, that's where my mind went. It was like, oh man, he done messed up his knee again. Jesus. Not thinking that they had preset this up. Because now that we know, you can pre-think about it. He gets injured. Surprisingly, and they mentioned it on commentary, surprisingly, the next night on Monday, they are where the doctor is, and was it Birmingham, Alabama? They are there.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to get seen. Then he does the interview with Rich Eisen where he's on crutches. He's being vague. The only person who did not lie in this whole situation was Paul Heyman, who said that he had a year to cash in. Just wait. He never would say he was injured. He never would say something was wrong. He never would say any of that. He just like, we'll see.
Right, because if people have ever heard Paul Heyman talk candidly, Paul Heyman doesn't believe or doesn't feel or treat fans the same way that Vince McMahon does. Vince McMahon thinks that fans are stupid. Paul Heyman has always said since his ECW days that that's a disservice to the fan base.
Yeah.
People aren't that dumb. People are more in tune than you think. And I was like, tell the story. No problem. Tell the story. But don't treat them like they're dumb. Like, people have eyes. They know they know when shit is real or when things are not real.
Some people don't, because I don't know, all week I've heard about, I can never believe that Seth and CM Punk don't like each other now that I've seen them be friendly with each other.
No, I mean, at the end of the day, it's professional.
You got to work with coworkers that you don't like every day.
Yeah.
You don't think people...
It's professional wrestling for a reason. The professional part is how you treat one another while you have to go to work with someone else, right? You're not going to put someone else's life at risk. You're not going to hurt them purposefully and things of that nature. That's the professionalism part about professional wrestling. You go out there, you do the bit, you you work out your spots and stuff like that. Understand what the finish is supposed to be, and then go from there, right? In this instance, when Seth, especially when he was at the top of the ramp, when Seth turned around, and I was like,
Paul didn't move. That's when I was like, he about to cash in. Yeah, Paul like, never moved.
Yeah, Punk never moved, and it's like, why is he still there? Well, he's celebrating. Nah, man. Nah.
He knows. He's done it to other people. He knows what's about to happen. Because you know his immediate reaction is when they cut, most people forgot, when they cut back to the ring, Punk is holding the title, and he is looking around for the rest of the people to come in to jump him. But when Seth comes in the ring, he misses hitting Seth in the head with the title. The title shoots past Seth, and that's when Seth hits him with the briefcase. It was over, buddy. And once he started beating him with the briefcase, I was like, it's over.
The timing part of it was also key as well for folks who tend to look at the time on their clocks as much as I do. And I noticed that the match was over at 9:17 p.m. And I was like, oh, we got time. I was like,
that's what I kept saying. I was like, something's about to happen.
I was like, we got time.
But you know what? It happened quicker than most people think.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, at first, Punk is in shock that he's won the title. The referee is holding the title for a minute. Then he gives the title to Punk. Punk grasps it, starts to cry, stands up, turns around, and Seth's music hits. And in 12 seconds, he lost everything. He had just won. It's funny now, but yesterday I was like, imagine, and I told the audience, imagine you just won $100 million. And somebody got the opportunity to cash in on you and to take your money. How would you feel? That would hurt, especially if I can't even fight you back. just literally just gave my all to get this money, and then all of a sudden you just robbed me. I'll be hurt. As a CM Punk fan, I was dying on the inside. I was like, a part of me, and I said it out loud, man, are they punishing you like this?
That's what people want to see it that way. I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, they're going to write their show the way they want to write it, and people are going to be in whatever positions they want.
What big name match? I mean, he probably has one or two. I can't remember. What big name match since he been at WWE has he won? Other than he won Seth the first 2 times. What has he won?
Since he came back?
Yeah. Other than winning this championship, he hasn't won anything of meaning.
I don't know.
He didn't win. He didn't win the Rumble. He didn't. Oh, he did. No, he didn't. He got pushed out. He didn't win the Rumble. He didn't win King of the Ring. He didn't win the briefcase. He didn't won nothing. He wins one time and loses in 10, 12 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens. We'll see as to what trajectory Seth Rollins takes with the new with the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And Monday night should be telling as to what the rest of.
I think it might be a rematch.
Maybe
at the next pay-per-view or whatever, Clash of Paris or whatever, because Triple H was like, Seth did what he had to do, but I don't appreciate that he lied to me about his medical records. And
nobody
that's not
lied to you, man.
The kayfabe in him was like, he lied about me about his medical records. So we'll see Monday what he has to say, and then we'll go from there. And I was like,
ain't nobody lie to him. He's the one who came up with the idea. Ain't nobody lie to him.
you know, Triple H watched that thin line on. First of all, the fact that they didn't do a press conference and they did the post show outside with Big E and them.
So to talk about that, Delores, and I'll let you take the reins with it. It was interesting to see different like online wrestling personalities talk about the cancellation of the post show news conference. And
I don't know why, and I still don't know why, because they complain on they shows and they after shows. SRS and everybody else complains that they hate going to the press conference after the show, and that Triple H don't keep it real, and the characters stay in character, and they hate it. And so, why are you mad?
Yeah,
you didn't want to do it. You didn't want to do it. Why are you mad? Yeah, and it's like y'all have gotten content through the week talking to these wrestlers. So why are we even getting upset about that? And then now there was an exchange that I don't know because I haven't went back and even tried to listen to with Seth and Big E, where Peter Rosenberg and Big E went from ha 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 to like, what the hell? And I think he mentioned something. All I can remember Seth saying was something like, oh, I came back from injury. Ha ha. And he was right in front of Big E's face. And Big E and Peter looked like, the heck?
I can understand the optics of it, right? Like what you're just saying. I didn't see that, but from your explanation, I understand the optics of it, how that looked, how that might have looked, how that might have been perceived, especially when it comes to Big E. Is that?
I think he said it out of a jest, because when he turned around, right, he looked like he was like, "Oh, wait a minute," and Braun Breaker and Bronson went over there and gave him, props afterwards or whatever to Big E, fist bump, and they laughed and joked and stuff. But Big E looked like he did not like that.
Yeah. So
his face told and Peter Rosenberg looked at Seth and he was just looking like, are you trying to start something? Like, what's going on here? And they both, and Seth turned around and he kind of like joked on the way out. He was like, oh, yeah, I thought I was down. And he kept doing his little thing on out the door. But I think if he had did it to Peter, because Peter went to dinner with him and told on pre-show that Seth was injured and wasn't coming, to do that. He was just coming to do signings and stuff. That would have been the person you should have done it in their face. But when you did it in Big E's face, it looks bad.
Right. And this is and for factoid purposes, right? This is if because like I said, I didn't watch that part. This would be the second time that Big E is being used uh, as the MacGuffin in a sense, or whatever the case here, to be
Third time.
okay, maybe the
Because you remember Rich Holland?
oh well, he was
I injured somebody. He was going around doing that plot line after he injured Big E. Then we had the New Day.
Right.
Now we got Seth.
Yeah. So, could it be well, my initial thought process there when you were describing everything was, could this be foreshadowing? Who knows? We'll see as to how it all unfolds, if it even does unfold.
I think he might have was just supposed to, laugh in Peter's face because Peter had championed that he was injured. And as he started to say, he just turns around and he's in Big E's face. Yeah. But I think Big E was just like, that's a touchy subject for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been perceived that way. So, but like I said, like I implied, could this be foreshadowing? Who knows? At the end of the day, if it's not, then maybe it's the whole thing. Well, he was doing it in character, and I was like, well, Peter was there, to your point, Dolores, right? So it's like you didn't have to necessarily direct it towards E. You could have directed it at Peter and had it be about the dinner that he just had with you, and how it was all a ruse, and you played him about the injury and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it depends. It just, they don't do shit for the sake of. Yeah, I think in this case, and especially when it comes to Seth, because Seth's very focused when it comes to his stories and things of that nature. So we'll see. But tomorrow night's gonna be telling about where Seth is gonna go.
In the after show, Triple H, when they were saying, "Oh, this night went well, we're doing SummerSlam tomorrow," and Triple H was like, "Well, if you thought tonight was surprisingly and great, we'll wait till tomorrow. There's a lot of stuff going on." So I'm like, I don't know. They've been talking about Brock coming back. I'm like, this is too much at this point. But ladies and gentlemen, me and J.News, you know what, we're going to the back. Because you know what we got to do? We got to go to AEW, ladies and gentlemen. Which these next shows have little matches and a lot of promos. AEW Dynamite was on the 30th on TBS, HBO Max simultaneously. We had the AEW World Tag Team Title Eliminator Tournament quarterfinal match. I'm getting tired of saying these long sentences. The Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, defeated the Outrunners of Truth Magnum and Torboy Floyd. We had the AEW title Everyone Banned from Ringside match. Adam Page and Jon Moxley. Adam Page defeated Jon Moxley. We had Athena and Billy Starks defeat Alex Windsor and Tony Storm. We had Mark Briscoe defeat Ricochet, which with J.News, when we get to a later match, I want to say I don't like Ricochet.
I mean, okay.
Because he jumped into a
match.
No,
I know what happened. What happened. Yeah. So general consensus standpoint, I thought that this was another solid episode of Dynamite for AEW here. All the matches went very well. The Young Bucks had a barn burner with the Outrunners. Not surprising. The Outrunners continue to get less and less love from a certain corner of the wrestling fan base, but a lot of people just need to understand that those guys really do know how to tell good in-ring stories. And Matt and Nick Jackson are man, like, to see them still be going at the level that they're going at right now is tremendous. So shouts to them there. I believe there was a portion of this show where Jon Moxley had come out during the show before his match with Hanger, and he basically intimated looking for Darby Allin, and they couldn't find him, or whatever the case is. And then then we get to the Adam Page versus Jon Moxley match, another great match between Adam Page and Jon Moxley. This match had a much different feel from their match at All In. These two guys have great chemistry. They put on another terrific match on free TV for people to watch, and Adam Page was able to retain his championship. At one point, Marina Shafir tried to come down to the ring and interfere, but that was blocked and thwarted by authorities and officials, and it didn't work out at the end of the day. And there was a long 2 count there after Adam Page was hit by the AEW championship. Jon Moxley wasn't able to keep him down, and Adam Page was able to overcome, and he still retained. So the Cowboy is still our champ in AEW. Post-match, Jon Moxley then left the ring, and he went off on a tirade because obviously he lost his match. And then we followed Jon Moxley to the back, and Jon Moxley went to go get some air outside of this unique building in Chicago, and a door closes behind Marina Shafir. He gets chloroformed by a towel and Darby Allin and gets snatched up into a dark alley. And Darby Allin, then they show Darby Allin later on in the show trying to throw Jon Moxley over a fire escape, which is a very Darby Allin thing to do. So we're going to continue down that road, that feud between Jon Moxley and Darby Allin, which Darby Allin said very astutely weeks ago that Darby Allin doesn't need to be in the title picture in order to do cool and exciting things on AEW TV. And this is a very unique storyline that he's got going with Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley being a veteran of this business, being one of the main eventers on AEW for the existence of AEW. So this can only be a great platform for Darby Allin and things of that nature. So I'm definitely looking forward to see as to what Jon Moxley and Darby Allin's got cooking up. Adam Page is in an interesting dynamic right now. During a backstage promo during the night, Adam Page brought up the fact that MJF has got his contract after winning the Casino Gauntlet match, but that MJF doesn't have the balls to sign the contract and tell Adam Page when he's going to want that match. And he's also not man enough to work himself up the rankings in order to earn a title shot. And that in order for MJF to get that title shot, he would have to go through Mark Briscoe. So it seems that we have this intertwined battle going on now, because we've seen for weeks MJF go back and forth with Mark Briscoe. Obviously, MJF's been going back and forth with Adam Page as well, with the Hanger as well. But now they're including Mark Briscoe in this AEW Championship storyline. So we will see if we end up getting a triple threat match at Forbidden Door and things of that nature between those three guys. So there is that aspect of it. On to the next match. We had Athena and Billy Starks versus Alex Windsor and Toni Storm. I thought this match was fun. Alex Windsor and Toni Storm, great chemistry. Those ladies have known each other for many, many years. I didn't doubt that they would have great chemistry and things of that nature. They pulled off some good tag team tandem stuff. Athena and Billy Starks have worked well for years now at this point, especially with their experience with one another at ROH. Billy Starks is a future star in this business, folks. I mentioned that because that girl is ready, willing, and able to do any and everything to just entertain people. And she puts her body on the line like nobody's business. So just look out for Billy Starks in the future. She's only 20 years old. She's got a bright future in the wrestling business. And Athena, during the show, cut a promo about not cashing in, but signing her contract at Forbidden Door. So they announced they officially announced the Athena versus Toni Storm match at Forbidden Door, and they also officially announced Swerve Strickland versus Okada, because Okada and Swerve also had their own vignettes and promo bits cut during Dynamite. So that, I think, I covered the majority of all the promos that were done in the back during the show. Which is what Delores mentioned earlier about it being a promo-heavy show. There were a lot of promos that were cut during the show, and Swerve and Okada did their bit. So then we also have Okada versus Swerve officially announced for Forbidden Door. And then at the end of the show, which I thought was a little bit surprising that they ended the show with Mark Briscoe versus Ricochet. But they continue to play up Ricochet's role as the leader of this new faction of his with the Gates of Agony and things of that nature. Mark Briscoe having to fight that off, but they don't necessarily have Mark Briscoe tied to the conglomeration as much now. It seems like Mark Briscoe is more or less, if you want to call it on his own, but he still got help by the tail end of this match to fight off what was going on. And he ended up running off MJF and stuff like that. And we'll eventually see MJF versus Mark Briscoe. I think it's this Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. So they're going to have their match. And yet again, another solid episode of Dynamite for everybody involved. They continued their storylines. The matches were all solid to good at the end of the day. And another solid show for AEW there. You're muted, Delores.
While we've been on, I'm losing my voice, sorry. While we've been on, there has been an SRS report. When Braun Breaker was helped to the back, they said it was a work. He showed up on the post show. But when there were photo sightings after the post show, he came with his knee wrapped and they had to give him a chair to take photos. And the person that came with him from WWE asked the people working at the place to hurry up the photos so he could leave. And they think that he is being evaluated soon for a knee injury.
I mean, at this point, and I think folks should pay close attention to this. And I think the WWE might have done something extraordinarily good for the professional wrestling business with this whole airing this, I would want to call it a mockumentary that is unreal. And obviously
it's a long 24/7. That's what.
Yeah, and with what happened with what recently happened with Seth, the WWE seems to have taken kayfabe back, and that's been a long sorted discussion with the internet wrestling community for a long period of time. And now going forward, we're not going to know whether to believe or not to believe when people are injured, at least in the WWE side of things, right?
I know with the report, because I'm not trying to get detailed, the person who is telling this was at the picture signing and saw him face to face, said that it seemed a bit swollen, but it was the point in which the WWE worker was telling people that they need to hurry these photos up so he can get finished, and proceeded to give him a chair. It went from because we didn't quite see him except for when he got in the camera right before they left after the Seth Biggie thing. We didn't quite see him walking, and he kind of like shuffled, and so that he was helped to the back. But initially last night it's a work. They working. They said that he was going, it's not nothing serious. He came out on the post show, which looked like he was fine, but they were concerned after they saw him at the photo opportunity having to sit in a chair, and then the representative telling them, we need to hurry this up so he can get out of here.
Yeah, nothing serious at the end of the day.
Yeah,
if he's
maybe
actually,
he just, but I don't think has he had an injury since he's been on the main roster?
Nope.
So yeah, and no offense, but he's been doing them spears crazy. And so I wouldn't, sometimes you can pull something, tweak something, maybe just sprain something. It doesn't know. But me and J.News, y'all know where we're going. Back to the bag. On to the next show, which was ROH, was also promo Harriet. I think AEW this week was just promo heavy. The conglomeration of Hologram and Tomohiro Ishii defeated the MXM collection of Mansoor and Mason. We had Gringo Loco defeat John Cruz. We had Blake Christian defeat Jimmy Jacobs. We have, I can never say that word right, J.News.
I wasn't saying it right the whole entire time. It's Jelwa. Jelwa.
Yalwa. See, I knew I've been saying it wrong because I've been saying it with the X. Listen, my plea, I'm gonna say it right here on the camera. My plea to up and coming wrestlers, please don't have me say 45 names for your name. Don't make it all 69 syllables that I can't say, that nobody can say. I can understand if you're coming from another country and this is your name, but can we get a nickname? Can we get something? Because if me and if J.News can't pronounce it right half of the time, I know doggone well I'm never gonna get it. Never.
Yeah, because from a pronunciation standpoint, especially when it comes to Spanish speaking countries, depending as to which country you come from, we either pronounce a specific letter a certain way, or depending as to whatever letter comes after that letter, X being this letter. In Mexico, when you start something with the letter X, it's not akin to an S and things of that nature. It's more it's more akin to that a different kind of sound. So I was watching CMLL on Friday night instead of SmackDown, and Jelua was on that CMLL show, and I kept on hearing the announcer say Jelua, 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 and I was like, "That's how you say it?" I thought it was something else altogether.
I did too. Listen, I'd be lost
right.
if it wasn't for J.News. Listen, I'm just gonna go ahead and just admit, as a kid, when I saw the word spelled out, Jesus,
right,
I was like Jesus. Okay,
right.
that's I understand now. You know, enough Spanish classes. I understand now, but about Jelua, I would have never thought of that, even with the little bit of it's a lot of Spanish because I love a good telenovela that I have learned. I would have never thought that.
Right, and I had to remember that the pronunciations of certain letters in different Latin American countries, it just sounds different. So, so for me, I was like, oh, okay, cool. So that's how you say it.
It sounds more French than Spanish, and
right, exactly. It sounds more European than it does, contemporary Latin American, if you want to say it that way.
Yeah.
But then Bandito versus Adam Priest was getting some good fanfare during the week. So there was that match that stood out from this ROH show. Always good to see Gringo Loco on ROH TV. Gringo Loco, a veteran.
That's my man, $100 grand.
So there's that. Let me get this straight. Blake Christian had a match versus the Jimmy Jacobs?
Yes.
Interesting. I didn't see that at all. I didn't know Jimmy was still wrestling for all intents and purposes. I thought he was retired. So there's that. Gringo Loco faced off against John Cruz.
Yeah, because let me go back in my mind. I remember how Jimmy Jacobs looked back when he was wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the same Jimmy Jacobs. Because again, I've been watching wrestling all week, and I saw Crowbar wrestle, and I didn't even know who he was until they said his name.
Okay, that's fair enough.
So they look different now. It might be a new one, but they look different.
I mean, let me see something real quick. If I can versus Blake Christian. Did I spell this right? Blake Christian. Oh, they don't have this.
Because I know Jimmy Jacobs used to wrestle in GCW.
Oh. Let me see. Hold on a second. Ring of Honor, Pro Wrestling Net. Do they have photos of this?
I thought they would.
So did I. This is just the results breakdown for this. So I was trying to see if they had the card breakdown for that particular match, but no, that's not the case. So yeah, Blake Christian. If it was against the Jimmy Jacobs of former RH Lord Jimmy Jacobs, former WWE writer Jimmy Jacobs, then hey, whatever, cool. in that estimation. I wanted to bring up John Cruz here going up against Gringo Loco because I saw John Cruz again on Friday night on CMLL, being the mouthpiece for one MJF in Mexico.
Yeah,
John
the
Cruz,
MJF won.
yeah, he
Hold on a
won
second. I'll let you talk about that.
yeah, he won a championship there. So just wanted to bring up John Cruz, aka Serpentico, for those who don't know, of the Spanish Announce Project. And just ROH, the second show in the line for AEW TV. Oh, I think we lost Delores here, folks. That is quite the interesting bit of information. Wow. Never had Delores completely drop off the stream there. But to continue on, we're going to have to go without cards here for a bit, folks. So we just finished with ROH. Maybe Delores has come back on. Nope, she's coming back on, folks. But the next show up, we're going to be talking about is Collision. And Collision aired on Thursday night instead of Saturday night this past week. So it aired on the 31st of July. Just to run down the matches that went down on Collision. We had the AEW World Tag Team Eliminator Tournament quarterfinal match. It was Brodito of Bandito and Brody King defeating the Gates of Agony of Bishop Khan and Toa Leona. We had Chris Statlander go one-on-one versus the AEW debuting Lena Cross from Australia. We then had Thekla of the Triangle of Madness defeat Willow Nightingale. We then had the AEW World Tag Team Title Eliminator semifinal match, which had FTR along with Big Stoke go up against the members of the Bang Bang Gang, Austin Gunn and Juice Robinson. FTR won that match there. Max Caster went one-on-one with Roosh for the second time with the 5 minutes with the best wrestler alive. Roosh took his time beating Max Caster's ass, but he overran the 5 minutes, and they ended up in a draw there. So there that was. So then we had another multi-man match here with Skyflight Team. It was Dante Martin, Darius Martin, and Scorpio Sky defeating the STP faction of Carly Bravo, Shane Taylor, and Sean Dean. That was interesting to see. It was the first time I saw Skyflight together. They worked well together. So I wanted to give Scorpio Sky some shine there. And STP always works well together. Those boys are very underrated on AEW and ROH TV. And then the AEW TNT title Chicago Street Fight, which had Kyle Fletcher going up against Dustin Rhodes, the TNT champion at the time. There was a title change here. Kyle Fletcher finally reaching that peak of becoming the TNT champion by defeating Dustin Rhodes in this Chicago Street Fight. Dustin Rhodes came into this match hurt already. Dustin Rhodes was hurt since All In, as a matter of fact. And Dustin Rhodes, being the consummate professional that he is, but at the same time putting his body on the line here, lasted the 2-week period past the All In pay-per-view to have his small but effective title reign and be able to basically give to Kyle Fletcher in this match as much as he did. And Kyle Fletcher pulling off the win here. Dustin Rhodes now post-match, not a work, will be having surgery on his knee. That's why he was moving around in such a gingerly way since All In. He's had some trouble with his knee since then. And now Dustin is going to have surgery, and he's going to be out for a while. So that probably means that those ROH tag team titles and those ROH 6-man titles are probably going to be reworked in some way. Maybe tournaments will happen for them, or maybe someone else steps in for Dustin. I don't know. I doubt that, but I have a feeling that those titles are going to be up for grabs sometime soon on ROH TV. To mention some of the storyline stuff that was going on here, Chris Statlander, after her match with Lena Cross, which was a very short match, she was walking up the rampway after her win, and then as she walks up the rampway, Willow Nightingale's music immediately hits. Willow comes down the rampway. They don't get into any sort of a physical altercation, but you saw on Chris Statlander's face how annoyed she was with Willow coming down, and Chris continued to go up the rampway as Willow continued to come down the rampway as they went by like two ships in the night. So we're still continuing on with their feud there with those two. I love those two, man. Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale can do no wrong in my eyes. Thekla put on a hell of a match with Willow Nightingale. That young lady, that young lady's one of those wrestlers where it's like size really doesn't matter. Like Thekla hits hard, she's fast, she's intense. She has a very unique look to her. So she plays her character well. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the initial promo, backstage video promo that was cut for Thekla on Collision was the first time she ever spoke on AEW TV. So there was that happened for Thekla there. She had a promo in the back in like a dark lit stairwell with the other two girls, with Julia Hart and Sky Blue. And Thekla spoke during that promo. Decent promo, nothing out of this world, but it was a good verbal introduction for the fans to Tekla's cadence and how menacing she can be on the microphone and things of that nature. The tag match was fun between FTR and the Bang Bang Gang. These guys have history all abound, and it took them some minutes. It took them some minutes to get the chemistry down between Austin Gunn and Juice and Cash and Dax. But by the middle of that match, they were rocking and rolling, and they were doing bits and getting their spots off and doing some very, very interesting storytelling there, where Austin Gunn, the majority of the match, I believe, was taking the beat down, and then for another good portion of the match, Juice Robinson was just kept out of the match until he got the hot tag. So there was that of it, that the tag team 101, keeping one of the members of the other tag team in your corner. FTR worked that to perfection there, but that we also had a small clip of Big Bill and Brian Keith watching the match in the back. As we know, or if you don't know, Juice Robinson and Big Bill have a long-standing history with one another ever since their days at FCW. And those two got into it at the previous episode of Collision. So we see that we'll still see whatever feud is bubbling there is between Juice Robinson and Big Bill. That's going to continue going forward. And I'm sure that Juice Robinson and Austin Gunn are going to continue to tag as the Bang Bang Gang. Unfortunately, due to the fact that that Colton Gunn and Jay White are out. Bit of funny business at the end of the day. The Bang Bang Gang, during their entrance, brought out Cardblade and Colton Card during the match. So I'd love to see that.
I died in that. I was like, why?
It was their funny bits. It seems like Juice is leaning back into the Wild Juice Man character, even though he did have that interview with Renee the previous week, where he was talking about being taken more seriously and things of that nature. But it seemed like,
listen, we ain't trying to take you seriously, dude. The moment you came crawling out of the tunnel, I think it was All In All Out, and you proceeded to get to the edge of the tunnel where there's like the little entrance is, and you scooted over on your hands and knees like a dog and proceeded to take a hike like you were taking a pee. At that moment, we don't want nothing else but fun of you. We don't care about nothing. You can be serious all you want to. All I think about when I see you now is you crawling like a dog and taking a little pee on the little stand. That, listen, I can't take it seriously no more.
I think he's trying to focus on not doing that too much, but the wild man part of it, because you can even see he's growing his beard back.
I can't believe him and Tony are like, they're together at home, because they are two wild, crazy people.
because Juice said it during his interview with Renee. He can turn it off, but it seems that it's very hard for Tony to turn it off.
She can't turn it off.
At the end of the day.
Wait, was she's at home practice like, like black and white, and you over there like, what?
Yeah, he was saying during that interview with Renee that he gets timeless Tony Storm 24/7. It's just funny, man.
I've seen some wild stuff this week of people you never thought would be together, or people that not together but they're moved. Like, for instance, I don't know if you saw the clip of Penta in the restaurant showing this black lady who had a money in the bank briefcase in her hand how to do his walk, when he starts like pull off his glove, and he starts like doing it where his arm is behind her and he's like walking with her, and by the end when he kind of like turns to do the little hand pose he does, he has his whole arm around her like they're a couple. And I'm looking at him and I was like, you slide something. I tell you what. He was like, people were recording. They were just full on recording. He was just having a good time in the restaurant. Full mask, full gear, everything. He's just having a good time. He's showing her how to strut. And he starts strutting with both hands like he normally does. But somehow he ends up with his hand behind her and then wraps it around like they're a couple going to the movies. It was an older black lady, so I know he wasn't necessarily trying to get with her, but it was just the smoothness of it. I was like, "See, I didn't know you had game like that. I know you fine, but I didn't know you had game like that."
That is that I didn't know that was a thing. So I mean, hey, everybody does their own thing, so it is what it is there. But to end off the collision stuff, yeah, man, good showing for Kyle Fletcher. Even though it was a 2-week run, well-deserved title run for Dustin Rhodes on AEW TV as TNT champion and stuff like that. And now we go into the era of the Proto Star, and we'll see how that continues to go into the future. But that was Collision, folks.
Thank you, 755. We appreciate you. I always support him. Me and J.News back in the back. TNA wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, TNA Impact 1097 on the 17th on Access TV. I think we talked about it in True Hill Heat, where they said that WWE was thinking about trying to get them to move to Wednesday. I don't care what time you move. If you're still on Access TV, you need to move somewhere else. We had a TNA X Division title 3-way match. Leon Slater defeated Cedric Alexander and Jason Hotch. We had Danny Luna and Indy Hartwell defeat Ariana Grace and Jody Threat. We had the Rascals, Myron Reed, Zachary Wentz defeat the Nimitz of Nick and Ryan Nimitz. We had the TNA Knockouts World title match. Masha Slamovich defeated JC Jane by DQ. We had the System of Eddie Edwards and Moose defeat AJ Francis and Trent Williams. Man, God, Lee, I can't stand AJ Francis. J.News, did you see any of this?
This wasn't last week's show, Delores. This was the show on the 17th.
I probably put the wrong date, but this week.
No, because Jody Threat had her, not Jody Threat. What's her face? The Australian girl had her match on TNA Impact this week. Or was that another show?
Let me check.
Do they have another show that airs? I think just online. I might be confusing the shows then.
They be having,
because Lena Cross was
both of the tapings are one thing, and so sometimes certain things come out on their tapings.
Yeah, because Lena Cross was on TNA TV this week, even though the show was taped the previous week. She was on TV that aired this week, so that's why I was a little confused.
1097 was 1097 came out on the 31st. Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are the matches: the Leon Slater, John Hodge, Danny Luna, all of those. So it's right. I just didn't put the right date. It's 31st.
Yeah, no, because then that must have been the other TNA show that they have that only airs online or whatever their streaming service and stuff like that. Yeah, because Lena Cross had also made her TNA debut this week and whatnot. So and both matches played on the same day. They both played on Thursday. So I was like, I'm a little confused. So, but yeah, nonetheless, this is all how this all broke down with the TNA TV this week. I did not know that Cedric Alexander had an appearance on this show.
Yeah, Cedric Alexander has been making his rounds out there in the town.
Yeah, because I thought.
Also, I know you heard Pete Dunne was out in the town too.
Who?
Pete Dunne.
Oh yes, he was on Bloodsport and whatnot. But I thought that Cedric had only signed up to do that feud with Mustafa Ali, and he was done with TNA. I did not know that he was there for a longer stint and whatnot. So because I saw that Cedric was booked for like a bunch of different indie shows during the week and whatnot, so I didn't know that he made another appearance at TNA. So all right, cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're on to JCW, and I want to tell you, I'm only going to talk about 1 or 2 shows in depth because some of them wasted my time. GCW Japan, the first show, was on the 28th on Triller TV. GCW Tag Team Title match, YDMP, which is Alex Price and Jordan Oliver, defeated Motherfather. Okay? Started to say the rest of the show. Dark Sheik and Effie. We had Drew Parker defeat Shotzi Blackheart. We had Jeffrey John defeat Kiku, that's J.News word. Kiku.
Where are we?
Hold on, back. We on the first one. With Jeffrey John versus Kiku.
Oh, Kikutaro. Yeah.
Kikutaro. See, I almost came close. Mao defeated Atticus Cougar.
Kazusada Higuchi.
I knew the last name. Defeated One Count Madness. We had GCW Ultraviolet title match where Matt Tremont defeated Super Crazy. Out of all these matches, the only one that I semi enjoyed was Mao versus Atticus Cougar because it was crazy. The second night of GCW in Japan was on the next night on the 29th, where we had Shota defeat Jeffrey John. Kamatani, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes. Defeated One Count Manders. Mao and YDMP, Alex Price and Jordan Oliver defeated Dark Sheik, Mayu Yamashita, Shotzi Blackheart. We had Atticus Cougar defeat Drew Parker. We had GCW World Title match, Effie defeating Abdullah Kobayashi, right?
Yep.
See, listen, J.News, I listen when they told me stuff sometimes. And then we had Matt Tremont defeating
Mm-hmm.
See, listen, J.News taught me some things. I'm learning. I really wasn't happy with this show, so we're gonna keep it moving. We had a third night in Japan, and it was on the 30th on Triller TV. GCW Tag Team Title match, YDMP again. Alex Price and Jordan Oliver defeated Mao and Rina Yamashita. It's Yamashita, that's how they call it. Atticus Cougar defeated Mayu Yamashita. Is it Rina Yamashita? Listen, they changed their names. Big MLJ pronounced their name all kind of weird. Dark Sheik, Jeffrey John Yoshiko, which is the doll. That's my girl. My girl down like 4 flat tires. Defeated Invisible Stain. Every time I think about this match, I can't help but laugh. Invisible Stain, Kikutaro, and Shota. Listen, this match should have never happened, but I enjoyed every moment of it. I was going to go back and watch it. Jun Akiyama defeated One Count Manders. Maki Ito defeated Shotzi Blackheart. Chris Brooks defeated Drew Parker. And for the GCW World Title match, Effie defeated Matt Tremont. Okay? Now, we're on to when they come back to the States. GCW, hit them up, ladies and gentlemen. You got to hit them. Oh, listen, don't make me start that. was on the first on Triller TV. We had Teriyaki and YDMP. I'm not going to say their name anymore. Defeat Adrenaline Dip, which is Cappuccino Jones, which we'll talk about in a minute, and Jack Cartwheel along with Gringo Loco. We had the JCW title match, which was Masha Slamovich defeating Gary J. Team Cardona, which is Matt Sterling, Matt Cardona, and Tommy Invincible defeated Team Shotzi, which was Deanna Perrazzo, Matt Tremont, and Shotzi Blackheart. We had One Kyle Manders defeating Steve Macklin, Billy Starks defeating Atticus Cougar, tag team death match of Drew Parker, Emerson James, and defeated the rejects of John Wayne Murdoch and Reed Bentley. Ladies and gentlemen, we had GCW World Title match. Effie defeated, yes, WCW Crowbar. But Crowbar has gotten better looking as he got old. Tag team death match again. We had Bear Bronson and Slade defeat Dr. Danger, which is Mr. Danger. He calls himself Dr. Danger sometimes. And Dr. Redacted. Okay. So Dr. Danger. This match, I say you can miss it. Everybody else, I would say this is a show, one of the shows that I mentioned that I really truly liked. Ladies and gentlemen, GCW had the ID showcase for WWE where they show new talents. We had Ike Williams defeat Bobby Orlando. We had the Vanity Project, which is Brad Baylor, Bryce Donovan, and Ricky Smokes defeated Marcus Mathers and YDMP. We had Jackson Drake defeat Alex Price. We had a grudge match where It's Gal defeated Aaron Roberts. We had Timothy Thatcher defeat Aaron Rook. For the WWE Women's ID title three-way match vacant, Kaylee Ray defeated Zara Zakir and Zeta Steele. For the men's WWE ID men's title, Cappuccino Jones defeated Jack Cartwheel. It was okay because they're new, but now we're going to talk about a new company, JCW. They work with GCW. It's Juggalo Championship Wrestling. And we talked about the preview of this for Powder Keg, ladies and gentlemen. Powder Keg was on the first. We had a 3-on-2 handicap match. St. Clair Monster Corporation. That's what I'm talking about. Y'all need tag team names. Congo Kong and Mr. Happy defeated Buddy Thomas, Corrigan, and Johnny Vega. We had the JCW Women's Title #1 contendership match. Haley J defeated Christina Marie. Mecca Wolf defeated Matt Cross. Alice Crowley, JP Grayson, Shane Mercier defeated, God dog, every time I have to say this, I feel so bad. Cocaine, Mike, Stephen Flo. We had JCW American title. Caleb Conley defeated Willie Matt in a no contest. Now, this is where I have a problem with this show, J.News. In 11 minutes and 18 seconds. And then no contest. Okay. GCW Tag Team title match. YDMP defeated the Outbreak of Abel Booker and Jackson Crowley. Death match. We had Drake Younger defeating Joey Janela. And then we had a 6-man tag team death match where Team GCW One Kyle Manders, John Wayne Murdoch, and Matt Tremont versus the Team JCW Hall of Famers of Too Tough Tony, Madman Pondo, and Mickey Knuckles ended in a no contest. And it ended in no contest, as you saw, J.News, in 6 minutes and 55 seconds. Listen, I was like, this is the match I was actually wanting to see. Did y'all stop? The one above didn't give two shits about it, and it stayed for 11 minutes before it ended. Okay, so y'all already know what I feel about that. Wasting my time. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into last night. At 11 o'clock, I stayed up for you all to watch Emo Fight. Emo Fight was on the 2nd, which was yesterday, on Triller TV. Rollo defeated Kristen Napier. Kevin Koo, Mr. Danger, Oni King, Pero, and Teriyaki. We had Priscilla Kelly defeating Brooke Havoc. We had a studded belt strap match where Drew Parker defeated Justin Finn. Emerson Jane defeated Janai Kai, Lena Cross, XS. I'll never say her first name right. Zachary Wentz defeated Brian Keith. I enjoyed the last match. And I kind of enjoyed the Priscilla Kelly Brooke match, but it was kind of like timing wasn't always perfect. But I did enjoy this from beginning to end, ladies and gentlemen. It was Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. And it was good. I had Matt Mako defeating Ray Jazz, Janai Kai defeating Jordan Blade by a referee's decision. That wasn't a referee's decision. If you all watched it, she knocked the out of that girl so bad. J.News, I felt like that girl might see stars into the future. Simon Gotch defeated Nick Camarado. Charlie Dempsey defeated Dominic Granari. Royce Isaacs defeated Ivar. Yes, that Ivar. Timothy Thatcher defeated Slade by DQ. Eric defeated one called Manders by KO. And when I say KO, he sent that man to the upper round. Pete Dunne defeated Jonathan Gresham in one of my favorite matches of Bloodsport. And my girl, which I loved her attitude, 99 Hart defeated Masha Slamovich by referee's decision. J.News, if you want to, did you see it?
No, I don't have Triller TV, and
you want to get on the Triller bandwagon with your girl. But Natty, if this is her character, I would like to say I would like to keep it that way. Hey Tag. She went to put the sharpshooter on Masha towards the end, put her middle finger in her face and rubbed it. Then Masha tried to counter it and try to get out of the sharpshooter and spit in her face as Natty spit back in her face and told her to go F herself. And then end up locking her and then getting on top and just start pounding her, just pounding her till the referee was like, hey, for her safety, I'm going to have to call this over with. It's a vicious, angry, foul-mouthed Natty that I have never seen in my life. And I'm enjoying every time I see it. I wish she could be like this on WWE, but I know she can't. But I enjoyed the last two matches a lot, but I loved every match on this show because even with the Janai Kai one, the back elbow she gave that girl sent her into another world. Back to the way back, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go into the next show. HOG. Now, y'all going to see why I have a problem with this. High intensity. For the HOG Cruiserweight title, 6-way ladder match. Darian Richardson defeated Angel Jacquez, Jay Bougie, JJ Doze, Mantequilla, Rich Swan. For the HOG tag team title match, the main event, Jay Lyon and Midas Black defeated the Texas Outlaws of Wayne Rhodes and Wyatt Rose. HOG heavyweight title match, Charles Mason defeated Carlito. Ricochet defeated Amazing Red, which I enjoyed that match. Matt Travis Memorial Battle Royal, Amazing Red defeated Ben, Carlos Ramirez, Idris Jackson, Joey Silva, Ken Broadway, Matt Awesome, Raheem Royal, and Smiley. For the HOG women's title, Indy Hartwell kept her title defending against Priscilla Kelly. And the last match that pissed me off so bad. HOG Crown Jewel title tables match where Bully Ray defeated Zilla Fatu with the help of Ricochet. J.News, did you see any of this?
So the the Ricochet versus Amazing Red match to me was the match that I was looking forward to seeing just because of these two individual men's history in the professional wrestling landscape. Ricochet at this point in his career has, from a speed standpoint, has slowed down tremendously, and I wanted to see how his style would mesh with Amazing Red, who still works at a very high speed, which is what's been the cause of a lot of Amazing Red's injuries over the years. And the match went well. They did their thing relatively, and they put on a show for the crowd. So I wasn't disappointed with their match and how their styles in 2025 mixed together. Just to mention a tidbit about the HOG women's title match, like Laura said, Indy Hartwell retained over Priscilla Kelly. Post match, this is the second time in a row in an HOG show where Shotzi Blackheart comes out and stomps out Indy Hartwell. So I think that for the next HOG show, we're finally going to get that Indy Hartwell versus Shotzi Blackheart match. And there's that of that. And then to talk about the main event here, where Bully Ray helped defeated Zilla Fatu with the help of Ricochet, it seems that outside of AEW lines, Ricochet has decided to keep the heel train going, and he has decided to align himself with one of the most hated individuals in all of professional wrestling, be it on screen or off screen. And
I know somebody who right now is maybe a little bit more hated than he is.
I mean, I guess
Rikishi.
I'm not going into all that, man. He's. I think, especially when it comes to Rikishi and Bully Ray, right? The avenue that they're taking to garner.
Well, I would say before this match, when this match was announced, Rikishi had some words to say about his relative Zilla. Zilla then proceeded to respond back like, "Man, you got my number. You could have called me instead of lowballing me in public like you did." And then, which made Mama Zilla mad, and she started to tell the truth that the boys moved in with them, and then she asked her husband, could she get them a development deal? Mm-hmm. It had nothing to do with her husband. She went and had asked her husband to get the boys trained. She took them up there. She got them there. She said they lived with her for months. He never asked how they were doing, never came to see them.
Yeah, it was. I think that for all intents and purposes, like I said, I don't necessarily know what's real or what's fake, but it seems between Rikishi and Bully Ray, they seem to really thread that fine line when it comes to everything that goes on in professional wrestling, in either in the ring or outside of the ring and stuff like that. So they're keeping up their whatever version of kayfabe they're keeping up. You know, they're old school in that way.
That's past kayfabe, because when she started to explode on that live and let her true thoughts and feelings go, because normally times you hear her say, "Oh, well, you know, I'm cool, da da da. The family's cool with me, da da da." She really let it be known that once her husband died, she lost every contact she had with him. And so that's why I was like, man, why did you have to air him out like that? And he even said when he responded back, he was not nasty. He's like, you have my number. You could have called me if you felt like I wasn't a developed wrestler. You could have taught me or gave me some tips and tricks to do, but instead you do this to me. Yet on that same podcast, say he would train Cardi B. You dissed your own relative and then say I would train Cardi B. The same things you talking about Zilla and what he doing or whatever. You should have been asking him, can you train him?
Yeah, it's a bit difficult to understand as to what's going on there and what the real and what the kayfabe is or whatever the case is. I know that for a fact that what Zilla's mom was saying is true. The boys, the twins, Jimmy and Jay, moved in with their uncle Eki, aka Umaga, to train with him, as Umaga was the one who trained the boys to help them get their developmental deal with the WWE, and the rest is now history.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
And
and
that's what her thing about it was. She was saying, as much as you say you help and train people, you did not train your own sons, and you did not, when they stayed at my house for almost a year or whatever, did not feed, clothe, or do anything for them. I was responsible for them, and I treated them like a mom. That goes back to WrestleMania weekend when you saw Jay and Jimmy drop the mic literally and running into her arms when they saw her.
yeah, look, at the end of the day, there's always been, at least from the understanding of it behind the scenes, there's always been a disconnect, especially as the boys got older, between the twins specifically and their dad.
And you understand why Jimmy doesn't mess with him.
Yeah,
He did not show up for his wedding.
yeah. That I understand. Um, and it's complicated. It's a family thing. I'm not gonna go into that. At the end of the day, I just feel like uh, Rikishi and Bully Ray themselves, as I guess if you want to just put them into the category of old school wrestlers, they really try to tread that thin line and whatnot, between what real heat is and what real life is necessarily.
I would
And
have thought it was a word, especially after she did the initial live. But his response back to it was, "This is what happened when you get a little bit of money." And at that moment, I was like, "So, I was rooting for you. I was rooting for you, but now I can't root for you no more."
it's tough. It's definitely tough, and I know that, from what it always has seemed like,
She said it
especially
was jealousy.
with Zilla's rise through the independent scene and all that stuff, that Zilla's always tried his best to try to connect with his family members and things of that nature, but there's always been this this bit of resistance with him and that side of the line. If I'm not mistaken, Dolores, you can correct me here.
Yeah.
I can be wrong about this, but didn't Rikishi also have some unfavorable comments to say about Jacob Fatu during that whole spiel as well?
Yeah, if I remember right, yeah, he did. And it was the only common thing I would say between the two of them is both of them have spent time in prison.
Yeah, outside of that, it is what it
Outside
is.
of that, they two
Yeah.
different people. Jacob has a family. I think
Mhm.
Zilla might have some kids.
Mhm.
That's the only thing about it. And I think Zilla, even though his mama spazzed out, I mean, she's a mama. Uh and she was there for most of the stuff that before he was born happening. It was the fact that his response was, it seemed out of hurt. Like, I looked up to you. I appreciate you. If you had a problem with me, you should have told me. You didn't have to air it out, or at least speak to me first before you air it out. Like, that's all he was asking for. And to kind of get the cold response he got from that was like, that would make me look at him differently. Like, this boy seemed like he's been trying not to call out to change his life, to do the right thing. Even Jacob took him under his wing
Mhm.
and he was changing things and he's doing better. If you had a problem with him or Jacob, you should have reached out first. And then I would never do that. If I had a problem with you, I would never get up here and be like, you know what, J.News is this, and that. I would talk to you privately.
Mhm.
It's not something that if you're friends or family, you air out just publicly out of nowhere. Now, I
Yeah.
went on the rant on this channel. I never said nobody's name, but that's just how people should handle things, especially if you're trying to get into a business where you don't want to just do this podcast. You want to be like Booker T. Well, then you need to handle yourself in an appropriate manner. But Zilla, and it's just ironic because Zilla, Bully, and Rikishi are on the same page. They're very friendly. They're very close. and he lost to Bully Ray. But maybe it's setting up for a Ricochet Zilla match. That's all I can look forward to. I just feel bad that he's had some good matches as the champion and it ends like this. Sucks. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going way back to the playback. It's time for progress. And you know what they want you to do? Stay humble, okay? Stay humble was short. Tay Mayfield's defeated Adam. We had Progress Protest title #1 contendership match where Charles Crowley and Simon Miller ended in a no contest. They love that this week. Progress Atlantis title tables match. Mike DiVecchio defeated Alex Tischer in a title change. Charlie Sterling defeated Cara Noir. I didn't like that at all. I really didn't like that at all. Session Martina, yeah, I was excited. Defeated Holly Burlow. And then for the Progress Women's title triple threat match, we had Rio versus Kanji versus Rainy. J.News can pronounce her last name.
It's just Rain. It's Rain Leverkusen.
Leverkusen.
Mm-hmm.
Leverkusen. I have said it 29 times. Ended in a draw. Not 15 minutes. Not 10 minutes. 14:46. Does that seem right to you, J.News?
Shout out to Rain Leverkusen. It was reported over the weekend that she was the MVP of the WWE SummerSlam weekend tryout for
I heard that.
Wrestling talent. So hopefully that turns into something for Rain, and she can end up maybe getting a developmental deal with the WWE out of it. Rain being one of the fan favorites on Progress, along with Kanji and Rio. Those ladies, they know what they're doing, man, and they hit hard, and it's a very different style of professional wrestling than what is done on WWE for all intents and purposes. So it might be a good opportunity for Rain if she does get something out of this whole tryout process. The sessions, man, I'm hoping that she's in good spirits. I know that she lost her mother recently. Or that her mother was not lost. I'm sorry. Let me not put that out there. I think her mother was dealing with some health issues. Hopefully everything is going better there. And for all intents and purposes, always good to see the sessions back on Progress and things of that nature. Holly Barlow and Lana Austin are very unique women's talents and characters that I say to go out of your way to watch them. It caters to a specific kind of demographic for all intents and purposes. So
if you are hot and bothered under the collar, that might be the reason to watch.
Yeah. So there's that. Tell me what, I mean, don't be too extensive with it, but why did you not like the Charlie Sterling versus Cara Noir match?
It wasn't really the wrestling. I felt like Charlie shouldn't have won over him.
Okay.
That's the reason why I didn't like it, is because I feel like Cara is at a place where I see him not winning as much as he did before, and he's doing really good matches. Mm-hmm. So this should have been one that he should have won. Now, when he goes against big names like Effie or whatever, they do these things sometimes where they do the greatest hits of Cara, with like the swapping fluids back and forth and all the rest of that stuff. They really don't take the wrestling as serious. So those matches, I'm like, okay, if you're going to do all the stunts and tricks, let's just, do that. And he lose. But when he actually is doing great wrestling and he does the stunts and tricks, but not as much, let him win.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I've been a big time fan of Cara for years now. I feel like, not that he's hit his ceiling with what's been going on in Brit Rest as of late, but I would like to see him get on a bigger platform to see if the fans take to him. So my hope is that in for the rest of the year, or at least the coming year, that Car Noir is able to put himself on a bigger platform outside of Progress and things of
I
that
think
nature.
I think they won't do it because he's effy. He's a very flamboyant person.
But that's the gimmick.
I know, but that's just most mainstream. That doesn't work well. They will do the most
Mm-hmm.
with. They won't let him. When you think of the MXM collection,
Mm-hmm.
they're very flamboyant, but they don't. They're not like top stars.
Mm-hmm.
You know, kind of like that. Like what was the Chuck and it was like Chuck and them that were getting married. You remember that?
Billy Gunn. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they had the manager.
Yeah.
The manager was a semi good wrestler.
He
He
was.
never did good because that was his character most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
When you're that type of character, unless you're in the indies, do people accept it and they're cool with it? When you get mainstream, most people who are not used to that type of behavior don't accept it well.
I mean, we had Gold Dust on TV for over a decade, so I'm not too sure about all that. But I'll say
The
this:
Goldust was the character that, if you remember right, he wrestled pretty okay,
mm-hmm.
and he the gimmick was uh straight males were mortified by him being
Sure.
flamboyant.
Mm-hmm.
That's not gonna work with the community today, and you can't do that kind of storyline. And the thing about when he had the feud with Effie,
Mm-hmm.
they both like they literally swapped fluids in the middle of the ring,
Right.
and so you can't do that on live TV.
No, I
Those
mean,
type,
no, yeah. You got
those type of stunts and stuff that he's normally used is not going to work on live TV on mainstream. And
you have
so,
to.
yes, he's a good wrestler, but outside of that, what character would he play other than he likes to do these flamboyant, weird things that really he can't do on live mainstream TV?
I mean, outside of because he's always been a character guy, right? The more lewd stuff only comes to bear when it's specific talent. When I first watched him before he injured his ankle, that wasn't part of his shtick. That wasn't part of his gimmick. At the end of the day, him being Car Noir was just playing into his background with ballet, with being a teacher, with being this man who just wanted to be an artist, right, and misunderstood for all intents and purposes. And the flamboyancy was really more or less just the face paint, the gear, and whatnot, and how he presented himself. And then when he got into the ring, he was one of the better professional wrestlers you ever saw in that ring. I've only seen like one or two matches of him post injury, and he seems fine in that way. But like from a character standpoint, from a gimmick standpoint, I don't necessarily know where it has gone. But if you're describing it this way, Dolores, then there's certain things people know they can and cannot do on TV. And I don't know. In my mind, I've always wanted to see a face-off between him and Dalton Castle and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
So,
like when I got him and Effie, I was good up into the point they start to like swapping raw eggs between each other and making out, and I was like, you know what, like, and they were doing it for like not just like a minute or a couple of seconds, they were doing it for a while, and I was like, you know what, this is the type of stuff that we could have just kept it to a couple of seconds to a minute. We didn't have to do all this. But ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go on to my favorite segment of the show when I lay back and let J.News do his thing for New Japan Pro Wrestling, ladies and gentlemen. G1 Climax. As we all know, these are the rules. These are the participants in Block A and Block B. We've been over this a couple of weeks now, so you all should know. And so we are going to go on to day 27th, the 7th day.
Yeah, day 7 on the 27th of July, G1 Climax 35. Tag matches to start off the show. We had El Phantasmo and Jado defeat United Empire members Great O'Connor, Jacob Austin Young, Katsuya Murashiba, and Shota Umino. defeated Daiki Nagai and Shingo Takagi. Bullet Club War Dogs, Drilla Maloney and Taiji Ishimori defeated House of Torture members Ren Narita and Yoshinobu Kanemaru. TMDK's Hartley Jackson and Zack Sabre Jr. defeated the Don Callis family of Konosuke Takeshita and Araki Romero. This was a Block A specific show. We had Yota Tsuji defeating Oleg Bolton. Callum Newman defeated David Finley. Sanada defeating Tai Chi. Yua Uemura defeated Eagle. And then we had Ryohei Oiwa defeat Hiroshi Tanahashi in the main event of the show. We then go on to the 30th. We had Daiki Nagai and Yota Tsuji versus Masatori Yasuda and Tai Chi. Shomakato and Yua Uemura defeated Hiroshi Tanahashi and Katsuya Murashima. House of Torture members Sanada and Yoshinobu Kanemaru defeated United Empire members Callum Newman and Jacob Austin Young. TMDK members Hartley Jackson and Ryohei Oiwa defeated House of Torture members Dick Togo and Evil. And then we had Oleg Bolton and Toru Yano defeat Bullet Club War Dog members David Finley and Gato. On to Block B action. We had a Yoshihashi defeat Gabe. That Yoshihashi gained the 2 points. Gabe Kidd had to forfeit. Gabe Kidd is now out of the G1 Climax with injury. The Great Okan defeated El Phantasmo. Drilla Maloney defeated Ren Narita. Shingo Takagi defeated Shota Umino. And Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Konosuke Takeshita in one of the better matches of the tournament so far. On to August 1st, we had Katsuya Murashima and Shota Umino defeat Shomakato and Yoshihashi. Bullet Club War Dog members Drilla Maloney and Taiji Ishimori defeated the Don Callis family of Konosuke Takeshita and Rocky Romero. El Phantasmo and Jado defeated Daiki Nagai and Shingo Takagi. TMDK's Hartley Jackson and Zack Sabre Jr. defeated United Empire's Great Okan and Jacob Austin Young. Block A, we had Callum Newman defeat Sanada. Evil defeated Ryohei Oiwa. David Finley defeated Oleg Bolton. Tai Chi defeated Yota Tsuji. And Yua Uemura defeated Hiroshi Tanahashi. And that happened a couple of days ago. And then yesterday on the 2nd, we had the Block B day. Started with the tag matches. Oleg Bolton and Toru Yano defeated United Empire's Callum Newman and Jacob Austin Young. TMDK's Hartley Jackson and Ryohei Oiwa defeated Masatori Yasuda and Tai Chi. House of Torture members Sanada and Yoshinobu Kanemaru defeated Shomakato and Yua Uemura. Katsuya Murashima defeated Daiki Nagai and Yota Tsuji. And then House of Torture's Dick Togo and Evil defeated Bullet Club War Dogs David Finley and Gato. Block B action. Shota Umino defeated Yoshihashi in quite the match. Shingo Takagi defeated El Phantasmo. Konosuke Takeshita defeated Joe Maloney in another good match for Block B on that day. Ren Narita defeated got the 2 points by default because of Gabe Kidd's forfeit. And then Zack Sabre Jr. defeated the Great Okan. Yeah. Preview time, folks.
Ladies and gentlemen, yes, it's preview time. And you already know what we're going to start with. The thing that I'll be doing in about, 2.5, 3 hours from now? 6 o'clock, ladies and gentlemen. I will be back. SummerSlam Night 2. And here's are the matches that we'll be having. The WWE Tag Team Title 6-pack tables, ladders, and chairs match. The Wyatt Six, Andrade, Ray Phoenix, the Motor City Machine Guns, DIY, the Street Profits, and Fraxium will all face off together. WWE Intercontinental Title match, Dominic Mysterio versus AJ Styles. WWE Women's Intercontinental Title, no count out, no disqualification match. Or we just say it's a hardcore match. Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria. For the WWE United States title, steel cage match, Solo Sikoa versus Jacob Fatu. WWE Women's World Title Triple Threat match, Naomi versus Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley. And for the undisputed WWE title street fight, John Cena will be facing Cody on the Luther Rhodes. Okay? I cannot wait. I cannot wait to sing some of these songs with you all and have a good time. So make sure you're here at 6 o'clock. On to J.News.
Yeah, we have the New Japan shows. We have one that took place this morning. We had the United Empire members, Great Okan and Jacob Austin Young versus House of Torture members, Ren Narita and Yoshinobu Kanemaru. El Phantasmo and Jado will go up against Bullet Club War Dog members, Drilla Maloney and Taiji Ishimori. Katsuya Murashima and Shota Umino will go up against Bullet Club War Dog members, Gato, and probably, if I'm not mistaken, Taiji Ishimori. No, not Taiji. We'll see what happens in that tag match there. And then Daiki Nagai and Shingo Takagi versus TMDK's Hartley Jackson and Zack Sabre Jr. We then have Block A action, Callum Newman versus Oleg Bolton, Tai Chi versus Ryohei Oiwa, Sanada versus Yua Uemura, Evil versus David Finley, and Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Yota Tsuji. On to the 5th, which is this coming Tuesday. Masatoru Yasuda and Tai Chi will go up against United Empire members Callum Newman and Jacob Austin Young. Oli Bolton and Toru Yano will face off against House of Torture members Dick Togo and Evil. Hiroshi Tanahashi and Katsuyori Murashima will go up against House of Torture members Sanada and Yoshinobu Kanemaru. Shimakato and Yu Uemura go up against TMDK members Hartley Jackson and Ryohei Oiwa. And Daiki Nagai and Yota Tsuji of the Unaffiliated will go up against Bullet Club Board members David Finlay and Gato. Block B, we have Yoshihashi versus Konosuke Takeshita, the Great Okan versus Ren Narita, El Phantasmo versus Drill Maloney. Shota Umino will get his 2 points after forfeit from Gabe Kidd, and then Shingo Takagi will go up one-on-one versus Zack Sabre Jr. On to the 7th, which is Thursday. El Phantasmo and Jado will go up against Shomakato and Yoshihashi. United Empire members the Great Okan and Jacob Austin Young will go up against Bullet Club Board Dog members Gato and whoever else that might be. They're going to probably take out one of those matches. TMDK, Hartley Jackson and Zack Sabre Jr. Go up against Bullet Club Board Dogs of Drill Maloney and Taiji Ishimori. Daiki Nagai and Shingo Takagi of the Unaffiliated go up against House of Torture members Ren Narita and Yoshinobu Kanemaru. And then Shota Umino and Tomoaki Hanma are going to go against the Don Callis family of Konosuke Takeshita and Rocky Romero. Block A action. Tai Chi versus Callum Newman. Evil versus Oleg Bolton. Hiroshi Tanahashi will go up against Sanada. Yu Uemura versus Ryohei Oiwa. And then David Finlay and Yota Tsuji will have their main event that night. On to the 8th, which is the Friday, I believe. It'll be Hanma and Yu Uemura versus Bullet Club Board Dogs, David Finlay and Gato. Hiroshi Tanahashi and Katsuyori Murashima will go up against Dick Togo and Evil of the House of Torture. Daiki Nagai and Yota Tsuji of the Unaffiliated will go up against United Empire's Callum Newman and Jacob Austin Young. Oleg Bolton and Toru Yano will go up against Masatoru Yasuda and Tai Chi. And then House of Torture members Sanada and Yoshinobu Kanemaru will go up against TMDK members Hartley Jackson and Ryohei Oiwa. Block B action goes as follows. El Phantasmo versus Yoshihashi. Gabe Kidd will forfeit his 2 points to the Great Okan. Zack Sabre Jr. will go up against Drill Maloney. Shingo Takagi will go up against Ren Narita. And then Konosuke Takeshita and Shota Umino will have the main event of that night.
It's time for Wrestling Revival, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to have the Jerry Lynn Invitational. It's supposed to happen on the same
I already covered the Wrestling Revolver show there, Delores. And we're heading towards the end. I can't hear you.
I'm about to fight for life tonight. Because there's like in the sky, as you all can see, my background is turned dark, and then the lights just decided it's like good night, goodbye. So let me get this back up here so I can do the spotlight. We can be done for today. Ladies and gentlemen, my spotlight. Let me get all the way down there. There we go. Spotlight. My spotlight for today, ladies and gentlemen, is the one, the only. Is it coming up? Is it gonna come up? Jelly Roll, ladies and gentlemen. I'm on my mobile hotspot. Sorry if it goes a little slow. I chose Jelly Roll because I respect the brother put in the work that he's supposed to, that he has a good heart and he tries to do his best, and also that he lost his weight. And I really appreciated seeing it because somebody who's, did the weight loss up and down, big and small, round and round. I appreciate that he is very open and very public and very like encouraging to people because technically, if you think about it, if he's been over 300 pounds since fifth grade, he has been a big person all his life. He had no reason to change, but he chose for a better future for his family and also for himself, and also to just do what he wanted, what he's loved to do as a child, and that's wrestle. And so I made Jelly Roll my spotlight of the week. Jay, do you got anything to say about Jelly Roll?
Nah, man, I think he's a cool dude. To be quite honest, over the years, just watching him and listening to his music and knowing his story, or getting to know his story and things of that nature. Um, some folks try to fit him into a box and label him certain things or whatever the case is, and then they get surprised by understanding as to how accepting of a human being he is, his struggles through life and all that jazz, and just getting out the mud, basically. Shouts to Jelly Roll and everything he's done for himself, his family, his career, and the people around him, man. So shouts to Jelly.
Yes, yes, yes. Back.
So this is the time when I am gonna get you folks to know a little bit about me as per the usual. Usually Dolores puts up the QR code
Yeah,
here somewhere.
yeah.
And
Here's the QR code, ladies and gentlemen. And J News does have a Chat GBT for the week.
mm,
The Chat GBT for the week is J News, a real one, no cap. He's a good man, solid all the way through. When it comes to wrestling, he call it like he see it. Ain't no sugarcoating. Sports commentary, he dropping gems like a vet. And the movie reviews, man, he breaking it down so smooth. You feel like you watching it with him. If you ain't rocking with J News, what is you doing? Get on game. Okay? That's what J News Chat GPT for the week is.
as always, thanks to ChatGPT for the week. That's my QR code, folks. That QR code leads you to all my links to all my different socials and things of that nature, be it Twitter, be it Instagram, be it my Letterboxd account where I do my written reviews for the movies that I watch in the movie theater specifically, unless I state otherwise. So my latest review up right now is for the Fantastic Four First Steps MCU movie that just came out. I dropped my review there, so go check it out and read it. Also have links to the True Heel Heat, which is the other podcast that I am a part of. Every so often talking about New Japan Pro Wrestling and for AEW pay-per-views and things of that nature. So go check me out there. And yeah, thank you as always, folks, and I will see you guys next week.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, y'all go check out J News, please. Please, please check out J News. Okay. Now we on to me. Okay. As you all know, we're not gonna get into the regular role, but I am Dolores of Dolores Designs. And unlike J News, because J News is not the real tech person, every week I do my banner is what a rap lyric is. And my rap lyric is from uh Cardi B and Gorilla's Forever song. And the every time I say it, I can't help but laugh. Uh Hold on, ladies and gentlemen, let me pull it up. Because the whole thing is not. This is she throwing shots. That's how I know I got a trigger. I don't speak dog roof. I don't care what no itch say. I stay on her mind. I got condos in her head. It says that the itch, she says she don't uck with me. Who said you can? Okay, that's my lyric for the week. It just hit my soul all of a sudden right before we got on the podcast. Did you know sometimes if you wake up and think about me before you brush your teeth and wash your tail or feed your kids, I got condos. I get light water glass included. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, here at Delores Designs, you said, Delores, how do I get in contact with you? This right here. This is how you get in contact with me. You can call me, you can email me, you hit the QR code and talk to me on one of my social medias. Listen, but please, warning, please, do not call me when you see me online. Like, oh, Delores online, I can hit her right now. I'm not going to answer. I'm on do not disturb. Unless you're my mama, my brother, you're not going to get in touch with me. Okay? So wait till after the live ends and then reach out to me. Okay? So we appreciate you here. For those who don't know, who might have been lost in the little bit that's been going on here on the podcast, I will be going live. We went live for night 1, and then we have night 2 tonight, 6 p.m. So as soon as I leave here, I'm jumping to a nap, and then I'm jumping back up for the podcast, for the night 2 watch along of SummerSlam. Okay? So let me get J.News back up here because we're a tag team. J.News always be trying to take my spot. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you here. I don't know why, J.News, it will not let me. Let me see if I go back that way. Hit the Rose Podcast. There we go. It won't let me go to the bottom, J.News. It said, not today, Cylinder, not today. There we go. I had to go down to 50 to get down to the bottom. Ladies and gentlemen, it's getting hot in here. Me and J.News, we doing like self-violence. We ran in here, we cashed our money in the bank briefcase. We done burn this place down to the ground. And guess what? Baby boy, baby girl, I ain't trying to see all that. Please put your clothes on. So you know what we're going to do? I'm going to help you out. And guess what I'm going to help you out with? J.News already know. I'm going to cut the lights off. There you go. Lights went off. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, lights went out like my lights went off, okay? It's a storm brewing, like what's her name? Jade, a storm is brewing around this piece. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you. I thank everybody who's came in today. And guess what? I'll see you tonight, okay? Until then, me and J.News want to tell you, peace.